Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto convinces Sasuke to choose a different path. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. That just leaves you. At those words, Sasuke's world contracted into simplicity. There was him, the Avenger, and this mysterious sound ninja with his face covered in bandages. At his feet lay another sound ninja, body broken. Justice was done. You better entertain me better than him. He knew that this was justice because the sound ninja had been attacking someone important to him. Had hurt someone. Sasuke searched his mind, but could place no identity on who had been attacked. An impression of pinkness, a woman's perfume was all that his mind could grasp onto. In the end, it doesn't matter. After all this, she will be safe. He started forwards towards the enemy. And she will respect me. So will this guy, once I show my true power to him. Something about the assertion of true power sounded wrong to Sasuke, but a renewed surge of chakra blew away his doubts. Of course, this is my power, sleeping within me all along. The genius offspring of his trail of thought ended, although he knew that he must belong to someone. Another annoying blankness presented itself, just like when he tried to remember. Blankness filled his mind, instead of memory, and still he moved forwards, towards the sound ninja. In the end, it doesn't matter, as long as he respects my ability. My power. Some part of his mind suggested that this wasn't why he was fighting, but Sasuke silenced it, as efficiently as he silenced his emotions in everyday life. He will kneel before me. If he won't, then I will force him to his knees, then bend his back in supplication, then make him kiss the dirt before my feet. Another pace forwards, his Sharingan picking up the increasing violence of the ninja's shudder. Fear me. Stop. There was the shriek, and the sound of running. Sasuke kept walking. It is none of my concern. There was a flurry of movement in his peripheral vision, and then something warm was pressing against his back and wrapped around his chest. Stop. Sasuke turned his head to find the cause of this annoyance. Pink, a woman's perfume. Please stop. Sakura, she's crying for me? Slowly Sasuke became aware of her breath on his neck, and a faint wetness as her tears fell onto his back, soothing the burning he hadn't been truly aware of until the coolness of her tears met the heat of his skin. The burning faded, starting at his legs and arms, traveling upwards until all that remained was an ember at his neck. Then the ember was gone. Sasuke slumped to the ground, breathing hard and shaking. Sakura kept a hand on his back, moving her fingers in small, worrying circles, and watched him carefully. Breathe. Remember what you were taught. Just focus on breathing, on the sound of your heart. In out in out. Sasuke-kun? Sakura's voice sounded dim to Sasuke, next to the rushing of blood and the pounding of his heart. Breathe slowly. Calmly. Get the mask back into place. No fear, no panic, no tiredness. His mind started to clear as his breathing slowed back to its normal pace. But however he tried, he couldn't stop the shaking. You're strong. Sasuke looked up with Sakura at the sound ninja before them. He held out a scroll of earth to them. Sasuke-kun, we cannot defeat you. He knelt and placed the scroll on the ground. Let us make a deal. Please let us leave for now. He stood slowly, leaving the scroll in exchange for his and his team's freedom. Sasuke looked at the scroll, confused. Why does he feel I am such a threat? I can't stand up, and my chakra is almost non-existent. Why? Something hovered at the edge of his memory, with much the same darkness as Sasuke associated with his memories of that night long ago. The sound ninja moved to one of his comrades, and picked him up, none too carefully. Sasuke shivered. His arms are probably dislocated, from the way they are hanging. What happened here? Something about all three sound ninjas was familiar, but the memories kept slipping out of his mind's grasp. The sound ninja continued to speak. We might be asking for too much, but we have something to confirm. He bent and picked up his female teammate. In exchange, I will promise this. If we are to fight each other in this exam for a second time, we will not run or hide. He turned, and started to walk off into the forest, carrying his team with him. Wait! Sakura rose to her feet. Who is Orochimaru? What did he do to Sasuke-kun? Orochimaru. Sasuke felt pain stab through his neck at the name. He bit my neck there where it burns. Felt like I had ice instead of blood. He offered me power. It was his power I used when his memory trailed off into blankness, unable or unwilling to provide a knowledge that was slowly filling Sasuke with dread. Why Sasuke-kun? Demanded Sakura of the sound ninja. My blood. The sound ninja turned back slightly. I don't know. We were just ordered to kill Sasuke-kun. He waited to see if Sakura would ask anything else, then returned to his slow walk from the clearing. Sasuke looked down at his hand, his mind making a connection. Blood in his mind's eye, a pattern, the color of dried blood spread across his hand, covering it in black curls. I don't understand what happened. Again he tried to remember, only to find blankness. Except I remember screaming. Now someone was screaming before Sakura told me to stop. Dimly he heard Shikamaru barking orders, and sensed the movement of several people spilling into the clearing, seeing to fallen friends he had not noticed before. Other sounds drifted into his memory. The sound of taunting by someone he didn't know, the sickening wet snap of bone and tendon breaking. He started to shake. What was I? A memory shifted. You seem proud of your arms. A voice begging me to stop. And then pleasure. Sakura-chan. Sasuke's head snapped up to look around as Naruto ran towards them, sputtering and yelping as he skidded to a halt and finally managed to get a coherent thought out. Your hair! Sakura curled a hand around her hair self-consciously. Oh this? Sasuke blinked. I hadn't noticed that her hair was cropped short. He shivered slightly as a wave of half-forgotten rage tried to rise up inside him. So her hair was cut in the fight? Why am I so angry about that? Not that someone was that close to her with a kunai, but that her hair was cut? It's an image change, muttered Sakura, half to herself. She then met Naruto's worried gaze and grinned. An image change, she asserted more forcefully. I like long hair, but it gets in my way moving around in a forest like this. Sasuke smiled slightly as he saw Naruto's expression brighten. So we're all okay. Whatever Orochimaru did, he could have done much worse. He shivered slightly as Naruto talked with Shikamaru and Chuji, and followed Sakura over to Lee's side, smiling as she and Naruto started to bicker again. It ended predictably with Sakura's fist sending Naruto flying. He listened with half an ear to Sakura thanking Lee for help, which Sasuke guessed had happened while he was unconscious. Her smile almost caused another to escape him briefly, but he held back his response. Keep your emotions hidden, your face still. Or people will use you, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke looked down at Lee, paying attention once again. Lee looked up at him with a mournful expression. You live up to the reputation of the Uchiha clan. He looked away guiltily. You drove away the sound ninjas. You truly possess great power and potential. While I lost horribly. He shifted his gaze away from Sasuke. Sasuke felt his eyebrows rise in surprise, much to his annoyance. What? He lost? What's going on? Were they really that strong? So strong that even Lee could do nothing? And here I stand, as beaten as Lee, yet I drove them away? He turned and walked away from the group. What happened here, while I was unconscious? And what did Orochimaru do to me? The pain in his neck flared briefly, then was still again. Naruto was bored. After his long sleep that day, he was the only one not battered enough to need sleep. So he got landed with watch duty, while Sakura and Sasuke slept in the small cave they had found in the cliffs. Naruto was glad for the noise of the forest about him. It meant that no outsiders were disturbing the activity of the forest, and also that he needed to concentrate in case any ninja with better stealth skills than his was making their way through the undergrowth. All he could hear was the gentle rustle of leaves and grass, and the sounds of nocturnal animals going about their business. An unusual sound caught his ear. Someone was whimpering. Naruto looked around, trying to spot the source of the sound, before sheepishly realizing that it was an echo effect, and that the sound was coming from behind, where Sakura-chan and Sasuke are sleeping. Carefully he scooted back into the cave, to find out what was the matter. It's Sasuke. This confused Naruto, as in all the missions they'd been on together, he noticed that Sasuke had a stillness about him while asleep, almost unmoving, except for the flicker of emotions he usually kept hidden during the day. Of course he'd only really seen that once, as he tended to be out like a light whenever he got the chance to sleep instead of work. Even as he watched, Sasuke cringed slightly, and muttered something Naruto thought could have been no. Oh Sasuke? Naruto leant a bit closer, worried about what Sasuke might be dreaming of. After all, he personally never dreamed much, but it was usually pretty bad, so maybe Sasuke would prefer to wake up. Sasuke? Even as he reached out, Sasuke shuddered again. That was enough for Naruto to make up his mind. He grabbed Sasuke's shoulder roughly, and shook him. Hey you, wake up! Sasuke's eyes snapped open, fading into his Sharingan as he drew a kunai and moved it towards Naruto before hesitating. Naruto? He sat up slowly as Naruto drew back, letting his Sharingan fade away again. Naruto tilted his head to look at Sasuke. Everything okay? You sounded like you were having a pretty wild dream. He looked at the kunai gripped in Sasuke's hand. No, I'm not going to attack you. Sasuke looked away, but holstered it all the same. Wild dream, huh? He closed his eyes. Those are the worst. Naruto looked at him. Sasuke was obviously hurting about something, and not doing his usual job of seeming that nothing bothered or affected him. Do you want to talk about it? What happened today said Naruto, trying to get it all out quickly before Sasuke called him an idiot again. Sasuke just looked at him, moving his hand to where Naruto had seen a nasty bruise on his neck that was slowly fading from purple to yellow as it healed. Naruto. Inside his own mind, Sasuke was locked in debate with himself. I can't tell Naruto about this. He won't understand. It'll just make him think that I'm about to go crazy again any moment, just like Sakura does. Telling him will make him stop trusting me in combat. He paused. So what if it did happen again? If he didn't know, then he might not know to get away, and I might hurt him, like I did that sound ninja, because I'd want his respect or whatever twisted idea gets into my head that time. Do I tell him, and make sure he's safe and doubts my ability, or say nothing, and have him still trust me? Naruto did the hardest thing he had ever done. He kept silent, letting Sasuke struggle with whatever he wanted to say. If something is bugging that jerk, it's better that he decides to tell me, then I beat it out of him. It's nothing. I'm sorry I disturbed your watch. Naruto just watched him. Are you sure? I know something is up with you and Sakura-chan, she's worried whenever she looks at you. I told you it. Sasuke paused. He should know. He protected me when I was too scared to move. He should know what might happen if I do the same for him. While he had been thinking, Naruto was withdrawing slowly. Hey, it's okay. Why would you want to talk to a loudmouth who'll just yell it through Konoha? Wait. It wasn't an angry command, or one snapped, but a simple request. Naruto turned to look at Sasuke again. What is it? Sasuke moved his hand away from his neck slowly. Ever had a nightmare so terrible it woke you screaming? And had it repeat itself every night? Naruto looked confused, and wrinkled his nose. I've never noticed Sasuke have anything other than peaceful sleep before now. Sasuke bowed his head. When that happens, after a while, nightmares have no more power to create terror. But, you're having bad dreams again. Ones that make you afraid? Asked Naruto, biting back the comment about Sasuke being a coward. He didn't think that comments like that would help Sasuke speak. Sasuke nodded slowly. Bad memories lead to bad dreams, huh? He drew a deep breath. Naruto, I'm returning the favor for yesterday. Eh? Naruto didn't quite know what favor Sasuke was thinking of. If I did anything then well thanks I guess. Sasuke looked at him. That ninja with the snake. You stopped it swallowing me whole. So I'm going to return the favor. Huh? Naruto looked around worriedly. Where? Where? Where's the snake, Naruto? Sasuke's calm voice drew Naruto's attention back to him. I'm the snake. If you don't watch out, I'll swallow you whole. Naruto just blinked confused. So what happened? I mean, I sorta remember the snake, and that guy with the long hair, but he rubbed the back of his head. Sorta misty on the details, like I can't quite remember them so good. Guess I hit my head pretty hard in that fight. Gets misty for me too a while after that. Sasuke looked at Sakura. At least she wasn't hurt, and I won't have to tell this twice. Once is painful enough. He sighed. She yelled at me, you know. Called me a coward too. Called you a lot of names, but said at least you fought. He looked at Naruto. That was what changed my mind. I stood. I fought. He paused slightly, looking almost ashamed. I lost. What? Sasuke hissed for him to be quiet, as Sakura stirred in her sleep slightly. Not so loud. She needs more sleep than we do. She was watching us. Watching us? Why? Sasuke shifted slightly, pulling down his collar to bare his neck towards Naruto. You've been injured enough, done the first aid classes. What does this look like to you? Naruto moved close, squinting in the dim light. Why is he asking me to look? It's just a bruise, had hundreds of those. We both have. He looked closer, and saw while most of the bruise faded between a deep blackish purple, and the yellow of healing, towards the bottom of the bruise was a strange shape, now easy to see. It looks like a tadpole, I guess, or like the marks in Sasuke's Sharingan. Tracing out the curve with his eyes, he spotted 2 more black marks, completing the circle, but not as sharp to stand out against the purple skin of the bruise. As his eyes traced up, he noticed one other thing, in the center of the bruise. Dents? Holes? He tried to remember where he had seen that form in a diagram before. It's a bite mark. From an animal with fangs. I can see the bruise marks of the other teeth just about. Sasuke, what happened? Did another snake get you? Sasuke shrugged and readjusted his collar. You could say that. The venom in the bite made me pass out, gave me a fever. I don't need to tell him that it was a present from someone called Orochimaru, or that it was he who bit me. He shivered at the memory. Nightmares have nothing on fever dreams. Naruto looked sympathetically at him. I guess hey, so what about the funny black marks? Marks? Sasuke bent his neck to try to see, but he couldn't bend his neck enough to see. You didn't know they were there? Naruto nodded to himself. You can't see there. It's like black tadpoles or something. Or Kakashi-sensei's Sharingan eye. The bruise covers most of it, but it's healing and leaving those marks behind. Oh. Sasuke touched his neck again, thinking. Black marks on my neck now, black marks on my hand before. Maybe it's the same thing. I think I remember the marks going up my arm, so the burning feeling must have been caused by them. I think this mark is dangerous. A seal of some kind. When I woke up from my nightmare, the seal spread over me. He closed his eyes and thought. Damn, I still can't remember so much. I can remember the power, but not what I did with it. He opened his eyes again. The seal covered me, and gave me power. Like I was full to bursting with chakra. Then that's a good thing, said Naruto. If the seal will help you out like that when you need it. Sasuke shook his head. I don't know how it helped, Naruto. I can't remember. Or at least, I can only remember bits of it. I remember screaming, and the sound of bone breaking, but he trailed off and looked at Sakura. I'm afraid to ask her what happened. Afraid that I did something that was unnecessarily cruel. I only start to remember when she was begging me to stop. That doesn't sound so good. That why you're having nightmares? Sasuke shrugged. That and the fever dreams. Go to sleep, I'll keep watch. I don't think I could sleep at the moment anyway. Naruto grinned at the prospect of more sleep. Thanks, Sasuke. He paused. Do you think you'll be alright? Awake here on your own? Don't worry, Naruto. I can take care of myself. The sunlight warmed Sakura's body slowly as it spilled into the cave, bringing her to wakefulness. At first she resisted consciousness, before the memories of the previous day came crashing into her. Sasuke-kun! She sat up quickly and looked beside herself to check that he was still there. All she saw was Naruto, sprawled out, slowly drooling onto the floor. You! Stupid Naruto, you were supposed to be watching out for us. For Sasuke-kun, she looked up panicked. Oh no, what if that Orochimaru came back and took Sasuke-kun while we were all sleeping? What if he's doing something even worse because of that seal? Her hands flew to her mouth as her imagination ran away with ideas as to what Sasuke might do, covered in the black marks of the seal. Good morning, Sakura. Sakura squinted into the light, and was rewarded by seeing the silhouette of Sasuke against the light streaming in. Sasuke-kun. Thank goodness, I was so worried. In her head, she continued her rant at Naruto, and how careless he'd been falling asleep when they were counting on him. Sasuke nodded to her slowly. I'm still here. Come outside. I want to talk to you. To me? Sasuke-kun wants to talk to me? Sakura's heart felt like it skipped a beat, and she drew herself up slowly, trying not to delude herself too much. Confessions of undying love would be nice, but there's never been one yet. Although the whole almost died thing might have made him reconsider how much he cares for me. That's probably it, and he's just being shy. She stepped out into the sunlight, and saw Sasuke move slightly away from the cave entrance. We should let Naruto sleep. As her eyes adjusted to the light, Sakura could see dark rings under Sasuke's eyes. Why? The idiot goes and falls asleep, leaving us unguarded, and then you take his place instead of waking him up. You're so generous, Sasuke-kun, but it's not good for you. You've been through a lot, have I? Sasuke sat slowly, indicating that she should do the same. I don't remember. Sakura did as Sasuke wanted, kneeling in front of him. All the more reason Naruto shouldn't have left you to keep watch. You need your rest, Sasuke-kun, you're not well. That Orochimaru. Enough. Sasuke cut her off quickly. I told Naruto to sleep. I wasn't about to again last night, and he's the only one out of us capable of fighting for now. It was a wise decision to make. But Sakura looked at how worn he seemed. I've never seen him so bad, so tired and sore. Sasuke-kun, why couldn't you sleep? Sasuke shuddered slightly. Dreams of the past, blankness in the present. He moved a hand over the bruise on his neck. I don't know what that guy did to me, but I think it's permanent. Naruto says that there are marks like my Sharingan under the bruise. Sakura nodded. It formed just after he bit you. I hope that it would heal as the bruise that came later would. She looked at her hands, folded into her lap. Sasuke-kun, why did you go so far? What reason did you have to do that to that man? Sasuke closed his eyes. The sound of bones snapping, a man screaming, why can't I remember? He let his hand drop, and looked at Sakura. Sakura, I don't remember anything after he bit me. Tell me, what did I do? You don't know? Sakura was confused. He'd spoken to me before attacking the sound ninjas. Does he really not remember? I know that he didn't sound right, talking about revenge like that. But you can't remember what you said to me? Sasuke looked angry. I just said that, didn't I? I really can't remember. I've tried, and all I get are a few sounds. If I thought I could remember by myself, I wouldn't even ask you. He tried to ignore the throbbing pain in his neck, which seemed to have started again. Sakura paused, trying to find the best way to explain it, while still calming Sasuke. The things you did, it wasn't you, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at her choice of phrase. Wasn't me, Sakura? Who else could it have been? Sakura pressed onwards with her explanation. Your chakra felt huge, but dirty somehow when you woke up, and you seemed faster and stronger than ever. She touched the ends of her shortened hair. You saw what I had done, and demanded to know who had hurt me. You looked so confused and angry, I didn't want to tell you. Then one of the sound ninjas said that he'd done it. She shivered. Your face just went totally still as you looked at him. Then those marks glowed and started to spread. I was so afraid. Sakura trailed off, almost crying at the memory. Tell me what happened, urged Sasuke, paying no attention to the pain that the memory was bringing Sakura. She sniffled a little. You saved us, you know. That sound ninja tried to kill Naruto and me, but you carried us to safety in a flash. Then you went after him, like we were taught. You beat him. But you didn't stop. Sasuke nodded for her to continue, dread winding itself deeper into his gut. You pushed him to the floor on his knees, grinning, pulling his arms back and with your foot on his spine. You tortured him, and then snapped both his arms. Sasuke winced. So the screams I remember were caused by me. Sakura, how could you do that? She was becoming more and more upset. How could you do that to someone and not remember? How can someone's pain mean so little to you? Sasuke couldn't meet her gaze. I don't remember, Sakura. I don't know why I did what I did. To someone I didn't know, anyway, inflicting pain for no reason. As he shuddered as Itachi's face rose unbidden in his mind. I'm not like him. I'm the one who's going to stop him. No matter what. Oh, Sasuke. Naruto came sauntering out of the cave, hands behind his head. Why are you upsetting Sakura-chan? Sakura wiped at her face angrily, trying to remove the evidence of tears. It's nothing, Naruto. We were just talking. Oh? Naruto looked at her carefully. She was crying. Obviously Sasuke said something nasty to her. I'll get him for that one day. Talking doesn't usually end like that. Shut up, Naruto, said Sakura. You don't know anything about this. Sasuke rose to his feet in one smooth motion, looking at Sakura. If we're done here, I'd like to rest a while. Keep careful watch in case someone tries to take advantage of us. He turned to Naruto. We still have a long time before the exam finishes, and we need food. You're the most rested of all of us, so it makes sense for you to go foraging. He stuffed his hands in his pockets, and started to walk back to the cave. Don't be too long or we'll waste time and energy trying to find you again. Naruto resisted the urge to stick his tongue out at Sasuke's retreating back on the grounds that Sakura might hit him. Enjoy your nap, Sasuke-kun, called out Sakura, before biting her lips slightly and looking around for a good vantage point to keep watch from. Naruto tried to bob round into her view. So what were you talking about with Sasuke-kun, Sakura looked down. Telling Naruto something like that would violate Sasuke-kun's trust in me. He obviously would have told Naruto if he'd wanted Naruto to know. Nothing. Just what we're going to do now. We're back to the start with only one scroll. Was it what those tadpole marks made him do? Sakura froze. How do you know about that? You were still asleep. Oh, Sasuke couldn't sleep, explained Naruto. We talked for a bit about what happened while I was sleeping, but he said he couldn't remember. I guess it was something pretty bad if all he could remember was screaming and you begging him to stop. He scratched his head. It's the only thing I can think of that would make you so upset. You really are worried, huh? Sakura nodded. Terrified. I must obtain power no matter what, even if I must let the devil take hold of my body, was what he said. Was that really just the seal talking, or does he really believe in his revenge that strongly? Who could he want to kill so much? His brother? Naruto, what I saw yesterday wasn't Sasuke-kun, but a demon wearing his face. I just wish I knew what Orochimaru had done to him. What kind of gift it was. Yeah. Naruto clutched a hand over his stomach slightly. A gift like I have? A demon that wears a human face? Naruto shook himself. Hey, I'll go do as Sasuke asked, find us some food. Sakura smiled weakly at him. Try not to get poison mushrooms this time, hey? Naruto grinned back. Don't worry, Sakura-chan. I know which ones are the bad ones now. Later, he sprang up into the surrounding trees, and was gone, leaving Sakura alone again with her worries. Sakura drew closer to the cave where Sasuke was sleeping, drew her kunai, and waited. After all, this time if I call for help they'll hear me. And Sasuke-kun is sleeping, not in a fever. It's not the same. But that knowledge didn't really make her feel any better. Guilt for doing something to Sasuke was an alien concept to Naruto. Usually causing Sasuke a mild amount of discomfort would have brought him great glee. But now it was time for Naruto to wake him to take his watch. He was reluctant. After all, he still looks like crap. At least he doesn't seem to be having nightmares again. Naruto scooted close to Sasuke. Oh, Sasuke? Sasuke's eyes snapped open and he sat up, wide awake. It was a skill Naruto envied, as it always took him almost an hour to be functional in the morning, and even longer if he was running low on sleep. My turn for the watch? He asked. Naruto nodded slightly. Yeah. Sasuke drew himself up, and moved to take Naruto's place at the mouth of the cave. He paused there, then sensed that Naruto wasn't settling to the ground to sleep. You should sleep, Naruto. We need to start moving in the morning. We've wasted too much time here. On you mean? Asked Naruto. Yes. Sasuke looked out. Both you and Sakura were recovered today. But it was at her insistence we stayed. I hate pity. She's just worried about you, Sasuke. We both are, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna tell him that. We don't know about what that Orochimaru guy did. Maybe we should drop out of the exam. Sasuke turned back to Naruto, anger in his eyes. No. I'm not quitting, not after I've come this far. If I quit now, I'll never be stronger than him. We've learned a lot from this already. How much more will we learn in the third exam? And if we quit now, how are you going to get to Hokage? You'll have to take the written exam again. Sasuke turned away so Naruto wouldn't see him smile. If you want to get Naruto to do something, a stick works better than a carrot. Naruto spluttered. Oh hell no. We're gonna pass this, and I'm gonna ace the third exam, no matter what. Besides, I can't take that exam again. I don't remember anything from it. Sure. Sasuke stretched slightly. So you agree? We need to start acting like something other than kids training. We need to start to act like ninjas. First, we need to be in as good condition as possible. We're going to have to fight to get one of the remaining heaven scrolls. Naruto nodded. Well, we're doing okay on the whole sleep thing about. I know I've gotten plenty, and so has Sakura-chan. He purposely left the implication that Sasuke had in hanging. Sasuke nodded, and looked at his still blood-stained pant leg. We can't do anything about the injuries we've picked up until the exam is over. Likewise any weapons or equipment we've lost. He sighed as he realized what was left. Food. And Naruto keeps trying to poison us whenever he does it. We need something with a higher number of calories than just vegetable matter. Naruto, how do you feel about trying to hunt? We need food. Why not just eat leaves and fruit and stuff? Sasuke gritted his teeth at having to explain something that should have been an easy deduction to make. We need something to provide us with a lot of energy. As the exam gets closer to finishing, we won't have time to gather any more food before the end, so we need to get as much as we can now. Oh. Naruto closed his eyes, thinking hard. Haven't seen anything we could hunt around here. Just bugs, spiders and snakes, and I bet none of those are tasty. Sasuke closed his eyes, drawing to mind the map of the training area that they'd been shown just before the exam started. There's a river. We have to cross it anyway, and it may well have some fish, which will be easy to kill and cook. He opened his eyes again and looked at Naruto. Did you happen to find the river today when you were foraging? Naruto shook his head. But it can't be too far. The whole area is only 10 kilometers across. And we've been pretty still for the last few days. Sasuke nodded. Sakura couldn't have moved the both of us far. It was a pretty hard area to defend that we woke up in. He looked out into the forest again. So tomorrow we'll fish, get enough supplies to last through the exam. Okay, said Naruto, flopping down onto the ground to sleep. Be just like steamed fish ramen, without the ramen. Or the miso. He hear fishy fishies. He paused in his thought. Oh Sasuke, what is it? Sasuke didn't sound annoyed or anything, so Naruto pressed onwards. How are we gonna catch fish? We don't have any fishing poles. Sasuke looked thoughtful, then smirked. If you're prepared to cooperate, I think I have the solution. Naruto cracked his knuckles. He thought he was the original Naruto, so that gave him the right to lead the squad of 4 Kaigebushin, all dressed in nothing but boxers, into the water. He grinned. Kaigebunshin. Fish-catching version. With a whoop he led the group into a dive off the cliff and into the river. Crapkled cold. Naruto opened his eyes, and was rewarded by the flashing silver of fish swimming through the river water. He swam after them, driving them upstream towards where Sasuke was waiting, and grinned as he saw some of them starting to leap out of the water. That's right, fishies. Jump high so Sasuke has a chance of hitting you. With all that's happened, he might not be such a good shot anymore. He heard several thuds, muffled by the water, and so dropped the technique, and surfaced, spluttering for air. Sasuke stood on the river bank, kunai in hand. That's 3, Naruto. Can you keep at it a while longer? What? Why? Asked Naruto, shivering as a breeze blew past his wet skin. There's 3 of us, and 3 fish. Perfect symmetry. He moved towards the bank. Sasuke scowled. I told you last night, dumbass, this is our last chance to get food before the exam is over. He shrugged. Unless you feel like wasting time we could be using to get the scroll and feeding yourself. Okay. Naruto dragged himself out of the river. I'll go back downstream and do it again. You owe me for this, Sasuke. You get the easy job. I don't care about any weird marks if it means you get to push me around. And Naruto? Naruto tried not to growl as he turned back to face Sasuke. What? What am I doing wrong? Sasuke blinked a little, surprised at the complaint. Nothing. You're carrying out the task exactly as I asked. Naruto started walking off again. Well then, don't complain. Sasuke watched him leave, thinking. Serves me right for even thinking of thanking him. Of course it's nothing but insults and complaints from him. He looked at the fish still pinned to the tree across the river. But I suppose giving him the largest fish would be fair. After all, he's using more chakra in this fishing than I am. He shook himself as he heard another loud splash from downstream. And me asking him to go again because I screwed up isn't really an option. Gutting fish was one of the chores in his life that Sasuke hated. While he was perfectly willing to believe in it being a necessary task to learn how to do correctly, he still found it rather distasteful. After all, even a ninja finds ripping the guts from a dead creature somewhat unpleasant. Unfortunately, he couldn't ask for Naruto's aid, as he had no clue, and he was frankly relieved at Sakura not looming over him, and so wished that her fire-making would take as long as possible without her getting into trouble. Then again, he thought to himself as he cleaned the last fish, we're already in trouble with this exam. Orochimaru has made things much more difficult. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke tried not to shiver as he heard Sakura call for him. She's been watching me like a hawk ever since we moved position to here. I know it's because she's worried, but all the same, it's getting annoying. We need you to light the fire, Sasuke-kun. Can you come and use Gokakyu? And can you hurry up? I'm freezing, complained Naruto. Sasuke smiled a little, then dipped his kunai into the water, washing away the blood and entrails. Just finishing up here, he called back. You'll be fed soon enough, Naruto, so quit nagging. He checked that the kunai was clean, before replacing it back in his leg holster, and picking up the fish. By talking to them, I show them that I'm still okay. They'll worry less once they see nothing has changed. He walked back to where together Naruto and Sakura had set up a small fire, carefully encircled with stones and a pile of firewood set nearby. Sasuke nodded and put the fish down. Naruto? You want to skewer these, Sasuke? You want to light the fire? Answered Naruto in a mockery of Sasuke's tone. I'm still freezing from that river. Sasuke looked at Sakura. Why do you need me anyway? Flint and steel should be the way to light a fire. Sakura shook her head. I couldn't find any dry wood, Sasuke-kun, so I couldn't get the fire to light. I thought maybe if you used one of your techniques, you'd get it to catch. Sasuke thought about it. I suppose it's possible to do it that way, but my fire techniques were never designed to do something so fine as to just light a stack of wood. I could do more damage than they expect. He nodded. I'll try. You better stand back. I don't know how small I can make it. He waited until they'd done as he'd asked, Sakura watching him worriedly and Naruto peeking out of the corner of his eyes as he fiddled about with the long sticks they were going to use to cook the fish. Sasuke slowly brought his hands up in front of his body, spelling out the seals, and drawing the smallest amount of chakra he thought he could use and not failed the technique up into his mouth. Katon, Gakkaku no Jutsu. He brought his hand up, guiding the flame jet to the neatly stacked firewood, watching it blacken, then burst into flames for itself. Still too much fire though. Sasuke kept breathing out, trying to expel the chakra from his mouth, then something made him stop. A shooting pain started in his neck, and seemed to flare outwards briefly, making Sasuke abort the jutsu and clap a hand to his neck, grimacing in pain. Sakura was at his side in a moment. Sasuke-kun? What is it? Is that Mark doing something again? She gripped his free arm tightly, watching him intently. Sasuke was embarrassed to note that Naruto had half risen to his feet and was watching him carefully. Like I'm sort of invalid, or child. Pity of a general sort Sasuke knew well how to cope with. He'd been facing it since he was young. It was this pity from his team that unsettled him, which had replaced their camaraderie. He jerked his arm out of Sakura's grip. I'm fine. I just had a twinge in my neck, that's all. Must have been some twinge, muttered Naruto, setting out the fish to cook against the fire. Sasuke, if you're not feeling 100%, you should tell us. Sasuke let his hand drop from his neck. Like I said, it was just a twinge. It's gone now. He moved to sit by the fire, watching the flames rather than trying to meet the gaze of either Naruto or Sakura. Naruto looked at Sakura. Sakura-chan cares, but she'd never complain at Sasuke. If anyone is going to make him face up to it and talk, it's going to have to be me. His nose caught the scent of cooking fish, and he shook himself. Mustn't get distracted. Sasuke first, dinner later. Oh, Sasuke? HM? Sasuke poked at the fire with a stick, more out of giving him something to do than the fire needing tending. Naruto took a deep breath. If that funny mark hurts, maybe it's trying to tell you something. Has it been hurting much lately? Sasuke shook his head. Not since I started to calm down after the fight. Felt hot once or twice, but it's probably just the venom working its way out of my system. I think Naruto might be right, Sasuke-kun, said Sakura, leaning away from him slightly, like she was afraid of retribution. You haven't done much since it calmed down, and we've no clear clue about what might make it grow again. And you keeping us out like this, trying to solve it for yourself might be brave, but it's also foolish to turn away help. It reacted to this, maybe, she continued, indicating the fire, so maybe it'll react again to something small and unneeded. Naruto dragged his eyes away from the fish again. Yeah. You said it got hot before? When? Sasuke shrugged, disliking their scrutiny. While we were coming here it started to feel hot just before we came out of the trees. I was just going to ignore it when it started to act up. It's just a distraction. Sakura shook her head. From what it sounds like, it's reacting to you using chakra. The more you use at once, the more it reacts. Hey, that's serious, said Naruto. If it hurts every time you use chakra, what's going to happen when we fight for a scroll? Sasuke shook his head. You're just guessing that. And so did I, but that's not the point. I have to get through this exam. Naruto thought about this. Well, if you're so sure, how about you make some bunshin and see if it reacts? Or do a full-size Gakkaku? Sasuke clenched his jaw, realizing that Naruto was calling his bluff. If I agree to that, I may find that I'm weaker than even I thought, and certainly they will prevent me competing. My only other option is to agree with them, and to whatever demands they make. I guess you're right. I'll try not to use chakra anymore until we can get someone to tell me what Orochimaru did. Sakura nodded. No jutsu, no Sharingan. And tell us if we're making you move around too much. Sasuke looked into the fire dully. Can't take care of myself anymore, Sakura? Can't do what must be done. I refuse. But by saying I accept, there'll be peace within the team, and we can start the real work. I know what uses chakra, Sakura. I'll be careful, I promise. You better be. I don't want to worry like that again. Sasuke nodded, not looking at her, and poked at the fire again. We need to make plans, not talk about what might be wrong with me. He looked up, taking in the position of the sun. It's been 4 days since the second exam started. He looked back to the fire, examining how cooked the fish were. The second exam began at around 3 o'clock. We only have 25 to 26 hours left. Sakura nodded. A lot of teams might have already finished. If that's the case, she trailed off, looking at Sasuke. Sasuke nodded. We're in a bad position. He stood, and started handing out the fish, setting aside the extra to cool. Naruto seemed shocked at the stick of the largest fish being pressed into his hand, but said nothing, for which Sasuke was grateful. I don't want to have to explain my reasoning to him. Sakura chewed at her fish mournfully. It may be possible that there are no more scrolls of heaven. 4 out of the allotted 5 days for the second exam have passed. That means that we've used up 80% of the time for the exam already. Total participants were 78, or 26 teams. There are only 13 scrolls of heaven, and 13 scrolls of earth, so only 13 teams can pass. On top of that, do you remember, Sasuke-kun? That Orochimaru guy burned our scroll of heaven. Only 12 teams can pass now. But there's no guarantee that other scrolls weren't also destroyed. Sasuke looked down. After we separated from the other Konoha genin, we used 2 days to recuperate from our wounds. To let me recuperate. I've wasted us so much time. We'll need to move faster now, to make up for lost time. The next enemy we meet might be our last chance. He looked at Sakura. It's the last day of the exam, so the teams will be drawing closer to the tower. Sakura nodded. Teams with both scrolls trying to get there in time, and teams like ours, trying to acquire the opposite scroll. Both will be in the area. Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing before we fight if the group we face would have the scroll we needed. Sasuke shook his head. Those moving will have both. Those lying in wait, with traps set, will most likely be the ones with only one scroll. Naruto tilted his head. So, there'll be a lot of traps? Because I know that I'd use a trap of some kind to make sure we didn't get caught heading to the tower. Even worse, said Sakura, some might be trying to acquire more than 2 scrolls, to cut down on the competition. We've seen all kinds of dirty tricks so far in the exams. Naruto smirked. So? I'm the king of pranks. Let's see if we can't come up with a trick of our own to get a scroll. By Sasuke's reckoning it was gone midnight, and still they were searching for the group that might succumb to Naruto's plan. He hated to admit it, but Naruto had quite a flair for devising plans that others might not think of preparing for. And so far, we're still walking towards the tower, without sign of anyone else being here, except for a few abandoned traps. Sakura flopped to the ground, breathing hard. I can't go any further for now. Can't we rest a while? Sakura-chan. Naruto knelt and started to check that she was okay. How long have we walked? She complained. The tower isn't getting any closer at all. She raised her head to look at it. Naruto followed suit. But it looks like it's right in front of us. This is weird, Sasuke nodded. I've been keeping track of how far we travel. The tower doesn't change in size as we approach. He looked around. We're in a genjutsu, tricked into walking in circles that take us no closer to our goal. But that means, said Sakura, drawing herself to her feet, that we're already in someone's trap. And that they must be watching us for a moment to strike. They all moved to stand back to back automatically as they sensed movement. Slowly figures rose out of the ground in trees, dressed in black, and wearing what looked like breathing devices on their mouths. As they stepped out of the shadows, it was clear that they were some sort of bunshin technique, as they were each identical to the next, with bandages covering their eyes and the same shock of wild brown hair. Sasuke smiled as he felt adrenaline surge into his system. Looks like their trap is sprung. Naruto grinned back, the grin that both Sakura and Sasuke knew to mean he was looking forwards to a fight. It's about time. I was getting lonely with just you two for company. Sakura cast a worried glance at Sasuke. Sasuke-kun? Remember your promise? Sasuke nodded back. Don't worry. They're probably all bunshin. One of the bunshin stepped forwards laughing, its voice distorted by the device in its mouth. Like mice caught in a trap. That was enough for Naruto, who surged forwards, striking out at the nearest enemy. His fist connected solidly with the bunshin's stomach, knocking it off its feet. Then the bunshin lost solidity, and became almost liquid, letting Naruto's momentum carry him past, blowing the hole in the bunshin's side, and leaving Naruto sprawled on the ground. As Sasuke and Sakura watched with horror, the battered bunshin slowly separated, and a second head rose to fill the hole caused by Naruto's punch. An arm soon followed, holding a double-pointed kunai. Even as Naruto staggered to his feet, the bunshin brought its weapon round to strike. Naruto! Sasuke drew his shuriken and threw them in one smooth motion, severing the arm that was still holding the kunai. In retaliation, the arm of the original bunshin threw its kunai, forcing Sasuke to duck and roll to his feet, furthering his distance from both Naruto and Sakura. Damn, splitting us up will only make us more defenseless. He moved to look at the kunai that had been thrown and frowned. The angle is wrong, but the kunai is real. They must be watching us and striking with the bunshin to make us believe their weapons are real. Protested Naruto. Kage bunshin should disappear if they're hit cleanly. Since they don't disappear, are they really illusions? What are they? He drew his kunai and got ready to strike at the now advancing horde. Stop! Called out Sasuke, moving back closer to them. They are just illusions. It's just a genjutsu used by the enemy. He met Naruto's gaze. Come on, trust me. They throw kunai at us to make us think that these bunshin are real. Naruto growled. Then I'll find those idiots hiding in the forest and throwing knives at us, and beat them up. And what about us? Asked Sakura. They're hiding, and we have to deal with these bunshin now, because the kunai we don't stop will be the real one. They'll only come out once we're so exhausted we can't move. She squeaked and deflected a kunai aimed right at her head. The bunshin all attacked together for several seconds, leaving Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke again together, back to back. and breathing hard from their efforts in avoiding the strikes, Naruto brought his hands into the seal position for Kage Bunshin. Screw this. If we get rid of all the illusions at once, the enemy can't attack in the time it takes for them to return to normal, since they'd revealed their position. Naruto gathered up his chakra. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. About 30 Narutos filled the forest clearing and started attacking the enemy Bunshin. Dark puddles of the enemy soon littered the ground, with other Bunshin still half reforming from the brutal attack. Sakura turned to Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, what should we do? Sasuke kept his eyes on the fight. Damn that idiot. We'll have to follow his lead, and fight like he wants us to. He moved his kunai up to the ready position, and looked at her for understanding. Seeing that she'd caught on to his words, he led her in a charge into the fray. It wasn't until the sky was lightening that the fight finally wound to its close. Sasuke watched with interest as the enemy Bunshin circled around the Narutos, destroying them, until only the original was left, breathing hard, along with a copy of himself, and what he hoped was a copy of Sakura. When Naruto had suggested this as a way to deal with traps involving them fighting to a standstill, both he and Sakura had agreed that by letting the two of them hide and remain unhurt, and even rested from the respite, they'd have a chance to strike when the enemy ninjas would show up to finish the work of their genjutsu, and more time for me to rest, to regain the chakra lost in traveling. Part of Sasuke almost itched to use his Sharingan, to confirm that these were all just illusions, and so justify the sacrifice of effort Naruto was making, but he knew that it would just be wasting that sacrifice. And breaking my promise when they're both so worried. I need them to be supportive if I have to break it later, so showing my willingness to stick by it now will make them trust my judgment. As he watched, Naruto scooted closer to the fake Sasuke and Sakura, looking both fearful and tired. Naruto, I owe you one for this. We're done crushing their spirits. 3 rain ninjas stepped out from the trees, watching Naruto and the rest as the Bunshin dissolved away. Now we destroyed their bodies. Lucky. Sasuke felt his eyebrows rise in surprise as he recognized one of the rain ninjas. He attacked us on the first day for our scroll, by pretending to be Naruto. Even as he watched, his copy in the clearing reacted in a similar way, impressing Sasuke with Naruto's insight into how he'd react. You, said the rain ninja. You're the one who injured my left shoulder, right? I finally found you. You wasted out time. He raised the kunai, and beneath his breathing device, his mouth crinkled into what might have been a smile. Lucky. I can finally get revenge. As Sasuke watched, Naruto's face changed from fear to a confident smirk. That's our cue. Time to end this. I wonder how they'd like their own line thrown back at them. Sasuke readied himself, before calling out to the clearing. Like a mouse in a trap. He smiled as he watched the rain ninjas start to look about in confusion. It went well, Naruto, called out Sakura from some bushes further to Sasuke's left. Sasuke was relieved. So she did manage to find a way to swap with Naruto. I'm glad that the trembling girl in the clearing isn't her. Now we have a chance to win. Together they moved to stand behind the rain ninjas and waited for them to sense their presence. Finally the leader did, and turned to look at them. What did they do? It can't be. When could they? Naruto grinned. Idiots. You finally showed yourselves, damn it. He brought his hand into the focus position, and the henge was dropped, revealing it to be 2 Kage Bunshin sat with him. The explosion of the transformation drew the attention of the rain ninjas back to Naruto. What? Did this kid? It can't be. Naruto just kept grinning. I used Kage Bunshin just to set up this trick. He stood up tiredly, grin still firmly in place. So I could pretend to be everybody on this team. The Kage Bunshin disappeared with their characteristic pop. Sasuke gave up a grin that almost matched Naruto's own. Once Naruto did his Kage Bunshin, the two of us hid. So we managed to fool a genjutsu master. He saw Naruto collapse to one knee. Naruto. Nice work, but you've used up too much chakra. We'll take it from here. Even as the rain ninjas turned to face the oncoming threat of Sasuke and Sakura, Naruto surged to his feet with a yell, punching the 3 ninjas to the ground. He stood panting, sweat dripping from his face, and turned to Sasuke. I'm not going to let you take all the good parts like that. Sasuke was surprised. Is he really that Naruto? When did he become stronger? And why didn't I notice this change? The rain ninjas stood again, and spread out to face them. Pretty good. But we're not in an unlucky situation yet. The 3 of them moved their hands into a seal position Sasuke didn't recognize. Time is running out. We'll show you our ninjutsu now. Ninpu, Oboro Bunshin no Jutsu. In a cloud of smoke, a vast crowd of exact copies of the 3 rain ninjas was created. Kage Bunshin? Asked Naruto, not taking his eyes off them. Sasuke shook his head. No, they're just normal Bunshin, but they must have some sort of tactic worked out. Be careful, Naruto nodded. If they're just Bunshin, then there's only one real one. I'll just beat up everyone until I hit the real one. Idiot, retorted Sasuke. That's a waste of energy. I told you, Sasuke, I'm not going to let you take all the good parts. Naruto ran towards the Bunshin, and started attacking them randomly, his fists just passing through them. Damn it, he's never going to find the original that way. Sasuke considered his options. With my Sharingan I could guide him to the real one, but I promised them both that I'd try not to use it. Without my Sharingan, we're blind as to their plan. He watched Naruto attack again and again, each time passing through the Bunshin. And if I don't, then Naruto is going to get badly hurt. That realization made up Sasuke's mind. He brought his hand into the focus position and channeled chakra to his eyes, ignoring the burning sensation that started at his neck. Sharingan. The Bunshin seemed to dissolve into pillars of blue fire extending from black cores. He could see Naruto's own chakra aura, looking somewhat diminished, and closer to his body. Quickly he passed his glance up and down the clearing searching for the real ninjas. Not finding them, he tracked his vision back again. It was on his third pass through the group that the world dissolved into white pain, driving him to his knees and clutching at his neck. Sasuke-kun! Sakura was at his side in an instant, checking him over. You promised you wouldn't use your Sharingan. She paused as she looked at his neck. The black marks have turned to look like fire and are spreading again. Sasuke-kun, the bruise is spreading. Please don't try to do any more. Sasuke clutched at his neck, trying to fight back the pain he felt. I can't let this thing stop me. He looked up to see Naruto looking back at the commotion in fear. A rain ninja stood striking down towards him. Don't let your guard down. He brought the kunai down. Sasuke fought to get control of his body again, in particular his mouth. Naruto! Move! Naruto didn't look up, but just responded to Sasuke's command, rolling to the side and out of the path of the kunai. He looked in horror at the weapon that had missed him by millimeters. Damn it! Stop, Naruto! Called out Sasuke, his voice racked with pain. No matter how much you try, the real one isn't in those Bunshin. Then where's the enemy going to attack from? Asked Naruto. If they're normal Bunshin, the Bunshin themselves can't attack us. If we knew that, then there'd be no need for us to work this hard. This is the enemy's plan. Naruto collapsed to his knees. Damn it. I can't use my Kage Bunshin anymore, and Sasuke can't move because of that stupid tadpole mark. We're sitting ducks. The rain ninjas took advantage of his weakness, and the Bunshin attacked again, leaping high into the air. As Sasuke watched, an arm holding a double-ended kunai emerged from the ground behind Naruto, swiftly followed by the rest of the 3 rain ninjas. So that's how they did it. The real ones hid themselves using an earth element jutsu, and they were planning to attack from under the Bunshin. Naruto! Behind you! He managed to draw and throw clumsily a kunai, not with any hope of hitting them, but to divert their attention for a split second. It worked, and Naruto launched a vicious kick, bowling them all over, and knocking them unconscious. Their Bunshin all vanished. Naruto laughed, panting. Don't let your guard down, wasn't it? He flopped to the ground, tired. Sakura smiled as she walked over, supporting Sasuke. That was great, Naruto. Sasuke nodded and flopped to sit in front of him. We need to get you eyes in the back of your head, idiot. That was too close. He smiled at Naruto. Naruto snorted and folded his arms. Well, excuse me for not having funky eyes and a Kekki Genkai. Besides, I trusted you to be my eyes for me, just like you trusted me with replacing you with Kage Bunshin. Sakura smiled. It was a good idea, and with all of us, it became a good plan. Sasuke nodded. With this seal interfering with my chakra, there wasn't much I could do to help in the fight. Naruto shook his head. Don't worry, we made it through anyway. The past is in the past, and there's no point to worrying about it. Sasuke rubbed at his neck. Sakura, the pain is less now. Has it stopped? Sakura shifted slightly, then nodded. It's gone back to being just those 3 marks again. Sasuke-kun, you promised you wouldn't use your Sharingan. Why did you break your promise? Sasuke let his hand drop from his neck again. Because we had to know where those rain ninjas were hiding. If you'd ever find the right one to hit. He shook his head and stood shakily, ignoring Sakura's disapproving glare. We can't stay here too long, others may have heard the fight. He moved to the fallen rain ninjas and started to search them. It's past dawn, we should get moving to the tower, and finish this exam. He smiled and held up a scroll of heaven. After all, our hunt is over. Scrolls and a sensei. A resting place at last. Sasuke estimated that it was about 9 o'clock when they reached the tower with their newly acquired scroll. The tower seemed to have many sets of doors set into its base, each with a paper seal placed over the seam. Together they approached the door, and entered cautiously, alert for any other ninjas who might, even at this late stage, try to intercept them. Inside the building was cool and oddly comforting after their 5 days in the wilderness. There was no one to be seen. Naruto hopped around the room, taking in the raised walkways and the large notice placed on the back wall of the room. No one's here. You have a talent for stating the obvious, said Sasuke in reply, earning a glare. Oh? So what do you think we should do, Sasuke? Asked Naruto, grinning. Maybe we missed the exam ending, that's why no one's here, he teased. Well, what about that? Asked Sakura, pointing to the notice placed on the wall. Naruto screwed up his eyes. I hate kanji. If you do not possess heaven, he read haltingly. He shook his head. I don't understand it. Sakura took pity on him. If you do not possess heaven, gain knowledge and be prepared. If you do not possess earth, run through the fields and seek strength. If you open both heaven and earth scrolls, dangerous paths turn into safe paths. This is the secret of something, it shall lead you on your way. Naruto frowned at the sign. So? What does all that mean? Sakura pointed to a space. That part looks like it's missing a character, but it's obviously referring to the scrolls from the exam. I think it's telling us to open them. Okay. Naruto reached into his back pouch and retrieved the scrolls, passing one over to Sakura. You sure about this? That funny Jounin lady did tell us that we weren't to open them. Sakura nodded and started to peel hers open. I'm sure that's what the notice tells us to do. Okay, Sakura-chan, agreed Naruto, having complete faith in her. He unrolled the scroll and squinted at the writing. Huh? What's this? Sakura was likewise confused at the writing. Person? Sasuke looked over their shoulders at the scrolls, his eyes widening. I recognize this form. The center of the marking began to expand and give off smoke. This is a Kuchiyos no Jutsu inscription. Naruto. Sakura. Get rid of those scrolls. Immediately they did as Sasuke asked, the scrolls tracing paper arcs until they landed together, hissing and spitting smoke which quickly filled the room. A loud crack sounded, and a shadow appeared in the center of the smoke. Instantly they fell into a combat-ready position, hands resting over kunai, waiting the signal to draw. It wasn't until the air cleared that they could see who it was they had summoned with the scrolls. Yo, said Iruka with a smile. Long time no see. He kept smiling as they slowly relaxed from expecting attack, and took in their battered appearance. Looks like the three of you went through a lot of trouble. Naruto was the first to recover his ability to speak from the shock. What? Why? Why did you appear through a Kuchiyos no Jutsu, Iruka-sensei? We Chunins are to welcome the examinees at the end of the second exam, explained Iruka. I was given the chance to pass this message on to you three by chance. He pulled a small watch from his pocket, and looked at it. Not bad on your first try either. He pocketed it again. Congratulations on passing the second exam. I'd like to treat you at the Ichiraku, but Naruto's world had dissolved into incoherence somewhere around the time Iruka had said you pass. Currently his mind was doing cartwheels of celebration, and he threw himself at Iruka in a hug, abruptly cutting off the offer of free food. Yeah, he hugged Iruka, laughing, and ignoring the Chunin's requests that he let go and let him finish talking. Finally the free food offer sunk in, and he started bounding around the room. Ramen! Ramen! Who? I did good. I'm the best. I want to eat ramen. Sakura flopped to the ground like a puppet with her strings cut. How Naruto ever has enough energy to do that, I'll never understand. She looked over to see Sasuke sit in a similarly tired fashion, watching Naruto's antics with a faint smirk. What an energetic guy. Sakura decided that she'd had enough of Naruto's bouncing. Be quiet, Naruto. Iruka seemed to join in their amusement at Naruto's antics. Geez, you're still as restless as before. Sakura laughed slightly at that, then remembered something. Oh. Sensei? What does that text on the wall mean? It seems to be missing a character, and we can't understand it at all. Who cares, who cares? Gloated Naruto. We passed. We don't need to worry about some silly sign. Iruka laughed nervously. No, my other mission is to explain the sign to you. He turned to look at it. Read it. This is the principle Hokage-sama wrote that you should keep in mind as Chunin. The heaven in this text points to the head of a person, and earth points to the body. If you do not possess heaven, gain knowledge and be prepared. He turned back to face the group, smiling. That means, for example, if Naruto's weak point is his brain, he should study and prepare for his missions. Sakura giggled. That does sound like good advice for Naruto. He never thinks things through before rushing in. That's none of your business, retorted Naruto to Iruka, crossing his arms, and looking annoyed at the friendly jibe. Sakura only giggled more. Iruka smiled and continued. And if you do not possess earth, run through the fields and seek strength. For example, if Sakura's weakness lies in strength, then she should train herself every day. That's what it means. Sakura giggled again, rubbing the back of her head embarrassedly. I suppose that's just as true for me as Naruto needing to study more. And if you have both heaven and earth attributes, any dangerous mission will become safe. It can even become easy. Sakura paused, then pointed to the sign again. Then what about the letter missing from there? Iruka smiled again. That's the letter that symbolizes a Chunin. It was the human letter that was marked on the scrolls when you opened them. He paused before continuing. The survival mission you took part in these past 5 days tested the basic abilities of the examinees as Chunin. And you guys completed it. A Chunin is a commander. He has to be able to lead his team. Deeply inscribe into your hearts the importance of knowledge and strength in missions. Never forget that Chunin principle, and go on to the next step. He smiled. That's all I was ordered to tell you. The smile faded slowly from his face. But don't push yourselves too hard in the third exam. Especially you, Naruto, I'm worried about. Iruka-sensei, interrupted Naruto. When I got this Konoha forehead protector, I graduated from the academy. There's no need to worry. And this is the proof you have to me to show I'm no longer a child, right, Iruka-sensei? I may still be restless, but I'm not a kid anymore. Right now, I'm a ninja. I see. I'm sorry, Naruto, said Iruka. He's grown a lot in just these few months. I did right to let him graduate, even if he didn't know how to perform Bunshin no Jutsu correctly. He smiled a little. The one who knows their abilities the most might just be you, Kakashi-san. In the meantime, I'm afraid I have other duties to attend to. If you follow me, I'll show you to a room you can wait in for the end of the exam. The room was sparsely furnished, with only some rough beds, a table and some chairs set in. But there was some food and water set out, and an adjacent room with plumbed facilities. Naruto more or less fell onto the table, snatching up pieces of fruit and bread before sitting with them piled in front of him. Sasuke shook his head. You'd think that the food was trying to escape, the way he acts. He moved to the table, and sat heavily in the chair opposite, pouring out some water for himself. Leave some food for us too, Naruto. Naruto stuck his tongue out. I got here first. Go find your own. Sasuke grabbed an orange out of the food Naruto hadn't hoarded for himself. Don't let your guard down too much. We don't know too much about what this third exam is, or when it's going to happen. It's probably the combat we're used to seeing in the stadium, so from here on, it's going to be one-on-one. Sakura shifted uncomfortably in her own seat. Sasuke-kun? Why didn't you tell Iruka-sensei about the bruise on your neck? You said you'd get help once the exam was over. Sasuke's hand automatically moved to rest over it. This exam is over, Sakura, but the next one isn't. Until I know that I have time to get this sorted out, no one is going to know outside of we three. Naruto paused in his eating. That's a really dumb idea, Sasuke. If the third exam is a fight, how will you manage without being able to use chakra? Before you had us to watch out for you, cover for you. Going it alone is gonna be impossible. Sasuke glared at Naruto before shaking his head. I could use my Sharingan a little before the pain got too much, and we have time to rest now. As long as I don't overdo it, there won't be any problem. Naruto snorted. Liar. You always overdo it. Getting into trouble over this is stupid. Just drop out, and go again next year. No, said Sasuke forcefully. There's no problem. I haven't felt any pain in my neck since then. Please, Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. I saw you when that bruise took over your mind. It was horrible. Like you didn't even care about what you were doing, like you were happy that you were hurting that man. She leant in closer to him. Please. She tried to put all of her desperation and fears into that one word. No. Sakura jerked back like she'd been slapped. Why? You're not going to achieve anything here other than get hurt, Sasuke-kun. This exam isn't that important. Sasuke looked down. You're right. I don't care about this exam. He looked back up again, into Sakura's eyes, his face expressionless, and his eyes cold. I don't care about becoming a Chunin either. I'm an Avenger. I just want to know if I'm strong or not. I'm going to fight the strong guys in this exam, and I won't allow anyone to take away my path. Even you, Naruto growled. Stop trying to act so cool, you idiot. Sakura-chan is worried about you, that's why she's asking you. Stop being so selfish, and realize you're in trouble, Naruto. Sasuke smiled as the answer to this argument came to him. I want to fight you too, Naruto spluttered a bit. Sasuke wants to fight me too? Like that creepy sand guy and Hinata's relative, and the fuzzy eyebrows guy. He met Sasuke's level gaze and could see only sincerity. He's serious. He thinks I'm one of the strong guys. Naruto grinned. You couldn't handle fighting me, Sasuke. Sasuke snorted. Sure, dunce. Ours will be the shortest bout. And now he's on my side of the argument for now. There are usually only 6 to 9 people in the finals, and with the large number of teams going in, there might be more passing this year. How that will change things, I don't know. He started to peel the orange, looking forward to eating food that he hadn't had to forage for himself. Sakura looked between the two of them. What? Naruto, how can you just agree with him like that? Just because he says he wants to fight you, you suddenly don't care about the bruise? But Naruto looked between the two of them. Of course I care, Sakura-chan. But Sasuke really wants to fight, and he says he'll be careful. We may not even have to fight again in this exam. We've only got a few more hours to go until it's over, and maybe they'd disqualify us about that bruise if they knew. Sakura was furious. It all comes down to fighting with these two, and their stupid little who is strongest contest. Doesn't Sasuke-kun's health matter to either of them? You stupid, immature Naruto. Don't you think of anything except fighting? Ramen, answered Naruto, promptly. Sakura's mouth worked for a few moments, before she started giggling. Naruto, you're an idiot. Sasuke made a gentle noise of amusement, and went back to eating his orange. Do you ever think before you open your mouth? Nope. Naruto grinned at Sasuke. And I want to fight against you too. A proper fight. But only once you've gotten rid of that tadpole mark. He made a face. I don't like it, and I don't want you to do to me and Sakura-chan what she says you did to that sound guy. There is something very wrong about that mark, but if you say it's not bothering you, then even if I don't believe you, I still trust you. Sasuke nodded. Agreed. I don't like that it's affecting my chakra system. I'm just glad that whatever that Orochimaru did to you, it only knocked you out. Naruto shook his head, and rubbed at his stomach. I don't remember much. Just him punching me in the stomach and throwing me with his tongue. I guess I blacked out. Remember calling me a scaredy cat? Asked Sasuke with an edge to his voice. Naruto nodded. Think so. You just weren't moving away from that snake. but I can just about remember your face. You were scared. Sasuke suppressed a shudder. I was terrified, Naruto. He was strong enough to kill us without breaking a sweat. So I couldn't move, but the fear when you called me that, it wasn't fear of Orochimaru, but fear of you. Well, it was a bad situation. You looked pretty beaten up at that point, and I know his eyes looked wrong. I don't think he's a relative any more than Kakashi is, but still, Naruto was sure that Sasuke was thinking about something, but didn't want to ask as he didn't think it was any of his business. And Sasuke is already ashamed about freezing. Rubbing it in won't help us much figuring out what to do. Well, we made it out alive, said Sakura, trying to drag them out of their thoughts. That's what's important. Now we have to focus on the third exam, and get our wounds tended, and get Sasuke-kun some help. Sasuke nodded. We could all do with a decent meal, and sleeping in a bed rather than the ground. Well said, Naruto. I say we celebrate once we get out of here. We should make Kakashi-sensei take us out for ramen. He grinned as he remembered the smells of the Ichiraku. It could be like a date. He asked Sakura hopefully. Sakura smiled at Sasuke. Yes, Sasuke-kun. Want to get some ramen after this? Or go somewhere else? I decline. Sasuke looked thoughtful. As we've passed this exam, we should start training for the next, once they release us back to Konoha. If it's the same as other years, we'll have a month. He rubbed at the bloodstain from the self-inflicted wound on his leg. We're too battered to have another exam immediately after this. Sakura nodded. I'm sure you're right, Sasuke-kun. She stood up. Please excuse me, but I'm really tired from the last fight. She made her way to the beds, and laid down, obviously hoping to catch a few hours' sleep. Naruto watched her. She looked so tired. She must have spent a lot of energy protecting us while we slept. Hey, Sasuke? Let's not wake her up, huh? Sasuke nodded. Sure. By the time Team 7 were summoned for the ceremony concluding the second exam, they were all feeling well rested. In the end, both Naruto and Sasuke had followed Sakura's lead, and taken the opportunity to get some sleep to make up for their night of hunting for a team carrying the Heaven Scroll. With both rest, and having fed on food they were confident would not give them food poisoning, Naruto felt confident that he could take whatever the examiners would throw at them, as long as it wasn't another written exam. When another Chunin came for them, they all followed behind him silently, to a large hall with a long raised gantry either side, and a sculpture of a set of hands making the seal of the ram. There they were instructed to stand in formation with the other genin, one behind the other. While it came as no surprise to Sasuke to see both Gaara and Neji present along with their teammates, the presence of 3 sound ninjas surprised him. He sensed Sakura shiver as she noticed them, the younger-looking man having his arms resting bandaged in front of him in a sling. My own handiwork. I don't know whether to be proud or sickened. The man met his gaze, and sneered at Sasuke. They must be good to claim 2 scrolls with one of their teams so injured. I'll have to watch them closely. He looked away as another team entered and lined up, and was surprised to note that it was Team 8 from his year. When this was followed by Ino and Shikamaru's team, he almost let the surprise show on his face. So all the rookies made it, despite the odds. His eyes shifted to look to the right again. 5 of the 7 teams are from Konoha. This lays the odds in our favor, as we will know the techniques they might favor. But I can't remember a final with this many people. I don't have a good feeling about this. Other ninjas now made their way in. Team leaders from Konoha, and what Sasuke took to be the Jounin instructors for the Sand and Sound teams. The 2 examiners, Ibiki and Enko, along with their assistants. The last person to enter, the Hokage himself, stood in the center of the podium that the genin all faced. After a moment, Enko's voice rang out through the hall. First off, congratulations for passing the second exam. She paused to let the official notice gain weight before continuing. We will now have an explanation of the third exam from Hokage-sama. Everyone, listen well. She turned to the Hokage, and softened her tone. Hokage-sama, please do the honors. Sasuke stood to attention, keenly listening as the Hokage explained the origins of the Chunin exams as a way to test the various hidden villages' strengths, and showcase their skills and power to potential clients, by demonstrating what the lower ranks could do, and leaving what the more experienced ninjas were capable of up to supposition. Like I thought, they're trying to simulate a war with these exams, even though we're at peace. We're just advertising to clients and a warning to our enemies. A man in a combat vest appeared, kneeling in front of the Hokage. Excuse me, Hokage-sama. I Gekka Hate, the judge will explain. The Hokage nodded slowly. Please do. Hate stood, turning to face the assembled genin. Everyone, it's nice to meet you. He coughed slightly. Everyone, before the third exam, there's something I'd like you to do. He coughed again in the pause. Fight in some preliminary matches to see who gets to advance to the third exam's main battle. Sasuke could almost sense the confusion spread through the room, and heard Sakura shift uncomfortably behind him. This is bad. We're all still worn out from the last exam, and there's been no opportunity to deal with this seal. She's going to want me to forfeit. Preliminary matches? He heard her mutter slightly, clearly worried. Shikamaru was much more vocal. Preliminary matches? What do you mean? Sensei, I don't understand what you mean by preliminary matches, added Sakura in a louder voice. Why can't we just start the third exam with the remaining examinees? Hate sighed. In this case it must have been because the first and second exams were too easy. I don't know why, but there are too many examinees left. According to Chunin exam regulations, we must decrease the number of participants before the next exam. Oh no! Sakura was panicking. If Sasuke-kun doesn't get a proper rest, and have that bruise dealt with, how will this preliminary round affect him? What if it takes him over again, and he kills someone? What will the examiners do to stop him? I can't let him fight. Hate continued his explanation, unaware of Sakura's crisis. As previously mentioned by Hokage-sama, there are many guests for the third exam, so we cannot just have a lot of matches. We are limited on time as well, so those who aren't feeling well. He trailed off into a bout of coughing for a few moments, before pausing to catch his breath. Excuse me, if anyone wants to quit after hearing the explanation, please let me know. The preliminary matches will begin immediately. A load of complaints broke out among the Konoha rookies at the unfairness of making them fight right away. Hate interrupted their complaints with another condition. I forgot to mention this, but from here on you will have one-on-one matches, so please withdraw if you wish. Sasuke frowned. I'm not going to withdraw. He rubbed at the seal on his neck, feeling warmth starting to spread from it as adrenaline started to enter his system. Damn, it's still reacting to me wanting to fight. At this rate I'll be spending more energy fighting it than my opponent. His movement hadn't gone unnoticed by Sakura. Sasuke-kun? That bruise is trying something again, I'm sure of it. Why else would he be holding his neck like that? Sasuke-kun, you should withdraw from the preliminary matches. You've been acting weird ever since that Orochimaru guy beat you. Sasuke flinched away from her scrutiny, and almost cursed out loud as Naruto turned slightly to watch them both argue. I told her before that I was going to keep going through with this exam. I'm not going to let some seal put on me by a crazed man stop me. He glanced at Naruto. He might still be on my side from earlier, but I only managed to calm Sakura by telling her that I'd get help and that we'd have time to fix this. Now with these prelims they're forcing her to act against me, to try to stop me competing. Sakura moved to try to look round him, to examine his neck. That bruise hurts even now, doesn't it? At this rate you'll turn into that demon again, Sasuke-kun. Maybe forever this time. I don't want to lose you to those black marks. Please. She clutched her hands together over her heart, sniffling. Please stop. I'm afraid. She wiped at the tears forming at her eyes. Sasuke winced. Those words. Those same words that she used to stop me last time. Would they even still work again? She's really frightened for me, frightened of what the seal might make me do. He closed his eyes, and tried to will away the growing heat at his neck. Slowly it complied, much more slowly than the last time. Am I tired? Or is it growing stronger against me? He tried not to shiver. Sakura could see his hesitation and worry, and tried to press further. You're not in any condition to fight normally, Sasuke-kun. Shut up, muttered Sasuke, unhappy that she was voicing some of his own concerns. You've been bearing with the pain all this time. How can you want to keep going? Just shut up, replied Sasuke more forcefully. You're making it harder for me to follow my path. I know you mean well, and may even be talking sense, but I can't afford to do as you wish, Sakura. My path is already set. Sakura looked into his eyes. I'm sorry, Sasuke-kun. I have to do this. I care about you. Whatever you say, Sasuke-kun, I'm going to tell the instructors about that bruise. Then she started to raise her hand. Naruto's eyes widened. Sakura-chan feels that strongly that she's going to ignore what Sasuke wants. What he told us and promised her. I want to fight him in the exams. But what if that tadpole mark is still hurting him, and he's been hiding it from us so we don't interfere or pity him? I don't know who to agree with, and Sasuke's gonna be mad that she's getting him disqualified. The tension between the three of them was finally broken by an outside influence. Kabuto raised a hand into the air with an embarrassed smile. I'll quit, Kabuto-san? Naruto was confused. He doesn't look hurt at all. Just dirty. Why isn't he trying for the next exam? He can't want to go an 8th time. Hade coughed slightly and looked through his papers. Let's see, you'd be Konoha's Yakushi Kabuto-kun? He paused to allow correction. When none was forthcoming, he continued, then you may leave. Kabuto nodded. Yes. He turned and started to walk out the room. Kabuto-san? Why are you quitting? Demanded Naruto. Why? Kabuto paused in his walk and turned to look at him. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but my body is completely worn out already. I can't fight right away, especially if it's a life or death battle. He muttered slightly to one of his teammates, then smiled and waved at Naruto before finishing walking out of the hall. Naruto watched him go, confused. Kabuto-san doesn't seem hurt, walking like that. Why doesn't he want to try anyway? Everyone here is tired, no one is in really good condition. Why doesn't he try? Hade coughed, drawing the genin's attention back from the departing Kabuto. May I assume that there are no more people who wish to retire? Sasuke sensed Sakura stiffen behind him, then moved slowly to raise her hand. He spun round and slapped it down angrily, holding her by the wrist to prevent her trying again. Be quiet about this bruise, he growled softly at her. Even as he watched, her eyes started to fill with tears again, and she sniffled. Sakura, live your life, not mine. Let me choose my own path. Why are you acting so tough? she asked. I don't want to see you suffer any more. It doesn't matter to you, replied Sasuke, cutting her off. This isn't your decision, Sakura. He watched her for a moment, hoping his cold expression would make her drop it. After a few moments, he felt the resistance in the wrist he held weaken in acquiescence. I'm sorry to make you worry, Sakura. This is just how it has to be. He felt Naruto's disapproving gaze on him, but stood firm. Making Sakura cry isn't what I wanted either, Naruto, but I should be allowed to control my own life. Hate waited to make sure the disturbance was finished before continuing. Then let's begin the preliminary matches. It will be a one-on-one match. In other words, it will be like real combat. Now that we have exactly 20 people, we will have 10 matches, and the winners will be able to advance to the third exam. There are no rules. You will fight until the other person dies, is knocked out, or admits defeat. If you do not want to die, please give up immediately. However, if I judge that the match is over, I may stop you to prevent any unnecessary deaths. The thing that will hold your destiny. He turned and looked up along the back wall where a panel was slowly rising to show a black display board. Will be this. This electric bulletin board will randomly display the names of 2 fighters for each match. Without further ado, I shall now display the names for the first match. Everyone present turned their attention to the board as names started to scroll by. With a loud beep that filled the room, the board gave out its judgment. Sasuke smirked a little. Right off the bat, He frowned, annoyed as the seal started to heat up again with his anticipation. This seal is starting to make trouble quickly. I'd better make sure I end this quickly. Hate held his arms out slightly. Will the 2 whose names were displayed step up? Sasuke did as he was asked, noting that his opponent was one of Kabuto's teammates, the one that had seemed to argue with Kabuto just before he left. He stood, facing his opponent, in front of the examiner. The first match's fighters are Akadu Yorai and Uchiha Sasuke, announced Hate. Are there any objections? No, replied both Sasuke and Yorai quickly and confidently. The seal twinged again, but Sasuke resisted the temptation to move his hand back to his neck. It would be showing weakness to an enemy, and make Sakura and Naruto worry more. I need to stop worrying about them and focus on this fight. I can make it up to them later, once I've cleared this match. We will now begin this match, announced Hate. He coughed slightly before continuing. Everyone other than the 2 fighters, please move up there. Slowly the group of genin dissolved from neat lines into muttering groups, which climbed the stairs to the long gantryways that ran the length of the hall. All except Naruto and Sakura, who watched anxiously as Kakashi approached them. He ignored Naruto's yelled greeting, and paused to stand behind Sasuke. Sasuke, don't use your Sharingan. Sasuke's eyes widened in surprise that allowed a smirk to return. He's good. So you know? Kakashi didn't react to Sasuke's question, but merely continued to speak. If that curse seal on your neck becomes uncontrollable, it may kill you. That's what I figured. Well, if that happens, the match will be cancelled. I'll stop you, so keep that in mind. Kakashi walked off to join Naruto and Sakura on the walkway. Cancelled? Thought Sasuke. The examiners are watching me that closely that if the seal starts to take control, I'll lose the match? I won't let that happen. I know this curse seal reacts to my chakra. If I try to mold chakra, it takes over my mind and produces chakra without a limit, and leaves me without any morals or compassion. In other words, not only can I not use my Sharingan, but any other jutsu that use chakra are out. He smiled in anticipation. So, how should I fight? Hate stepped back. Then please begin. Yorai put his hands together, forming the seal of the tiger. Let's go. Sasuke shifted his weight to be balanced, and brought his hand over his holster. Okay. Yorai let his hands separate, flames of chakra surrounding his right hand. His left moved to the pouch on his back, obviously searching for something within its contents. Sasuke drew his kunai as Yorai threw the shuriken he'd been searching for, and drew chakra through himself to speed up his taijutsu to strike the shuriken away cleanly. He was rewarded with a stabbing pain in his neck, making him stumble in his already off-balance position, causing him fall over. Shit. Looking up, he half-sensed, half-saw Yorai move in a black blur towards him, striking down towards his head. Training took over, and Sasuke lunged to the side, jamming his kunai into the concrete floor for the leverage to turn. He struck out with his feet at Yorai's ankle and knee, forcing the larger man to fall, neatly pinned down by a leg across his neck and another working with Sasuke's arms to pin his throwing arm. He did it! Sasuke tried not to smirk at Naruto's yell from the walkway, which echoed his own sentiments. See, Kakashi? Sakura? All your worries were for nothing. This Yorai never was a match for me. Yorai laughed slightly at Sasuke's smirk, then the blue flames of chakra gathered around his hand again, latching firmly onto the front of Sasuke's shirt. Something felt wrong to Sasuke almost immediately. Instead of his breathing evening out after his exertion, it was speeding up, like he was still in a fight. What is this? I feel his limbs started to tremble, and the pain in his neck grew worse. What is he doing to me? How is he making the seal react? He was startled out of his thoughts by Yorai tugging his arm free from Sasuke's now trembling grip, and bringing it down hard against his chest, leaving his whole body curled over and trembling. What happened? My strength left me as he touched me. He heard Yoro roar from some distance away, mixing with the noise from his team yelling. One voice cut through it all. Naruto's. Move, Sasuke! Sasuke rolled, trusting that Naruto was repaying his debt from the fight with the Rain Ninjas where Sasuke had been his eyes for the fight. He felt Yoro's hand slamming into the ground where he'd been only a second before, and rolled to his feet. Come on, stop trembling and pull yourself together. If he touches you, you're as good as dead. Either by his hand, or by the seal finally breaking free. Yoro laughed again, and started towards him, reaching out with his hand, trying to connect. It took Sasuke a moment to realize that the punches and grabs he was only just dodging were mere taunts from the older genin. I can't move so well anymore, and he knows it. He's playing with me, letting me tire myself out so he can get his hand on me again, and return to doing whatever that was before. Yoro let him dodge away. What's wrong? Are you done for already? Sasuke swung his leg around in a kick which Yoro easily dodged back from, and watched Sasuke pant from a distance. Sasuke cursed himself for letting his temper get away from him at the taunting. I should know better. With his ability, he wants close combat. What should I do? At this rate I'll lose. Sasuke! Sasuke's head jerked back up from his thoughts at Naruto's yell. Naruto? He turned slightly, dividing his attention between Yoroi, and where Naruto was hopping up and down and yelling. Call yourself Uchiha Sasuke with that pathetic attempt? He yelled down. Stop acting like an idiot. Get serious. You couldn't even beat Konohamaru with that pathetic attempt. Call yourself a ninja genius? Sasuke didn't know whether to be angry or mortified at Naruto's scolding. He's right. I'm putting in a pathetic performance. Time to get serious and start to fight like I mean it. Just going through the motions isn't going to be enough to get me through. His eyes drifted away as Naruto continued his rant, to where Lee stood next Naruto. An idea came to Sasuke, which he quickly tested for any fatal flaws, before finding none. I've got it. As long as the seal doesn't react before I finish the move, I can win this. You don't have time to look away, called out Yoroi, running towards him again. Sasuke returned his attention to the fight, dodging the blows Yoroi was giving out, slowly retreating back so that they stood almost face to face at the end of the hall, parallel to the podium. Almost in position there, Yoroi gasped. He disappeared. His jaw snapped shut as it was kicked from beneath, launching him into the air. Sasuke lowered his leg from the kick and set himself on all fours, before leaping into the air, gathering chakra. It goes like this, the flow of chakra moving like that, and in this quantity. He felt himself move through the air, momentum preventing Yoroi from moving as he took his position beneath. He smirked. From here on out, it's all original though. He reached out to place his hand on the hollow of Yoroi's back. This is the end. Kage Konohabuyo? One asked Yoroi, confused. Sasuke just let his smirk widen. Eat this. He had gathered chakra to his limbs in preparation to strike, when pain flared in his neck, forcing his head back in a moan of pain. The heat from his neck started to spread, along his arm, across his chest and back, and up across his face. Damn it. It responds when it doesn't need to. He could feel it spreading further, almost covering his face. Shit, Sakura isn't here to stop it this time. As Naruto watched Sasuke and Yoroi sail through the air, he noticed red marks starting to spiral out from Sasuke's neck and up across his face. Naruto blinked. Is that what Sasuke meant by that mark taking him over? He doesn't seem to be doing anything anymore, and it sure seemed to hurt from that yell. If it's making him unable to move again, he's in real trouble. Sasuke! You gonna let some freaked out bruise tell you what to do? Yelled Naruto. You're way stronger than that creepy thing, so stop fooling around and beat the crap out of this guy already. Come on, Sasuke! Don't let us down like this. I want to fight you in the finals, and you've got to make it out of this in one piece to get there. Sasuke blinked at Naruto's voice. Damn it, I can't believe I've gotten them worried. I won't let this thing take over. He shoved back at the seal, trying to separate its influence from his chakra system, willing it to cool down and return to dormancy. At first it resisted, but he kept at it, using the stubbornness that had gotten him into trouble occasionally. This is my path. My future. I don't need you, and you're damn well going to stop interfering in my match. Slowly at first, and then faster the heat started to retract back to his neck where it finally calmed and cooled, until all that remained was the shadow of warmth that had been usual. Sasuke let his expression of pain melt away into a smile. Let's go. He used a hand to spin Yoroi anti-clockwise, striking out with his left leg at Yoroi's midsection. Yoro caught the kick in a forearm block. Not good enough. Sasuke smirked and brought his hand round, using his momentum to twist and strike down with his other arm against Yoroi's chest, sending him towards the ground. A second blow accelerated him, and a well-timed kick finished off the rindan, impacting with Yoroi's stomach just below the ribs as he impacted with the ground. The full force of Sasuke's weight and chakra behind it. The final blow sent Sasuke off balance, and skidding across the hall's floor, trying to slow himself by gripping with his fingers. In the end his momentum caused him to flip head over heels and land in a panting heap on his stomach. Hate looked between the two bodies, before approaching Yoroi carefully. The man seemed totally unconscious. Looks like there's no need to confirm it. He looked over to where Sasuke was already struggling to his knees, panting heavily. I will stop this match now. The first match winner is Uchiha Sasuke. This means that he passes the preliminary round. Sasuke smiled. I did it. He pulled himself into a sitting position, trying to catch his breath. Took a lot of work, but I'm through, one step closer to fighting who I really want to. He felt himself slipping backwards, only to be stopped by a careful knee to his back. Kakashi raised his glance from his book slightly. Well, you did okay. Sasuke looked up and smirked. I did more than okay. I won decisively in a battle with a severe handicap. But praise from you is rare, so I must have done really well. Sasuke resisted the urge to roll his eyes. I could grow to hate that voice yelling my name, he thought wearily. Doesn't he ever shut up? You better get better at fighting before you go up against me. That was way too close to losing to such a stupid guy. You're all worn out. Idiot. Naruto was grinning as he yelled. Not about to tell him how worried I was when that tadpole Mark started acting weird again. Everything's gonna be okay now. Kakashi-sensei will take care of him, I know it. Sasuke smiled at Naruto's words. Geez, that idiot. He was really worried. He can call me idiot for now, but I'll show him that the opposite is true eventually. His gaze drifted to a relieved-looking Sakura, where he smiled at her a little. See? I'm okay. No harm done, no killing spree. Just let me catch my breath, and we can do something about this Mark now. It's too dangerous to be left after all. This fight showed me that. Sakura smiled back at him, and said something to Naruto. Naruto seemed to go off on some sort of happy rant to her, and Sasuke felt happy. Naruto will make sure she doesn't worry until I can speak to her. His eyes were caught by the movement of something green next to Naruto. Sasuke caught his eye, then nodded respectfully. Thanks to you, I was able to win. I won't forget that. If I didn't see your move up close, I would have been done for. He started to get up, but his ribs protested, sending pain through his chest. Seems like I can't use that move consecutively too much. If I'd broken something, it would explain why I can't breathe so well. He looked up as a medical ninja approached. Uchiha Sasuke, we medics will give you the best treatment we can. Kakashi turned his attention to the medic. This isn't your field. I'll take him. He bent down, lowering his book and placing a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. I'll take you into a back room and deal with that curse seal. Now? Wait, Sasuke. Then I won't be able to see any of the other matches. How will I know how to fight them in the main matches? Wait until the preliminary matches are over. I want to see the matches of the guys that will move on to the main event. Kakashi shook his head and stood. No. Don't get so heated. If we leave it as it is, it might do something irreversible. I won't listen to your selfish requests twice. Now come. Sasuke stood slowly, conceding defeat. He's right, even though I wish he wasn't. He started to walk to the exit slowly, Kakashi following behind. This doesn't feel right somehow. He paused and turned to look up at the walkway, where Naruto and Sakura seemed to be arguing again. Kakashi, what about a few minutes? Kakashi was surprised. Sasuke wants to talk with Naruto and Sakura? That's very unusual for him. It's unfortunate that he chooses now, when it isn't wise to pause. He may not realize that the eyes of all the Konoha Jounin are on him for now. I wonder what happened in the exam to make him act like this. To Sasuke, he just put a hand back on his shoulder, guiding him forwards. I'm sorry, Sasuke. This can't wait, even for a few minutes. Sasuke just mutely allowed Kakashi to guide him down the tower, into what he guessed to be the basement, where it seemed that some preparation had already been made. 2 circles had been scratched into the stone, with kunais placed at regular intervals. They knew about this curse seal before we even got here, probably. I wonder what Kakashi had to do to convince them not to take me here as soon as we arrived. Kakashi started pulling a glove off. Take your shirt off, Sasuke. You can talk while I work. He pocketed the glove, then used a kunai to make a cut along his finger. Sasuke did as he was asked, then sat in the center of the 2 circles, with his hands spread. Many jutsu require blood and sacrifice. This must be an advanced sealing jutsu. Kakashi, can you give some people some messages for me? This jutsu isn't one that will let me remain conscious afterwards, is it? Kakashi started to carefully write characters down Sasuke's back and across the floor. In your current weakened state, probably not. Anything you want to tell Naruto or Sakura, I'll make sure they hear. Sasuke nodded. Then tell Sakura that you did this, that I agreed to this. She won't have to worry anymore, right? Kakashi nodded. Right. I can tell her to stop worrying. And Naruto? Sasuke paused. What message can I give? Or say? I don't want Kakashi to twist my words into something else, something that they're not. Tell him that I'm disappointed that I won't be there to yell abuse and put him off when it's his turn to fight. And tell him, I'll meet him in the finals. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, glad that his position relative to Sasuke meant that his expression couldn't be seen. For Sasuke, that's almost a thank you for encouraging me. What happened between them in the exam certainly brought their teamwork back into focus. Splitting them up after this may be a bad idea. I shall have to think carefully. Kakashi, tell that Lee guy that next time we fight, I'll not make the same mistake as last time. And Sasuke trailed off, unsure of how to finish. I'll let him know how much you appreciate the bruises you got off him, don't worry. He finished marking out the characters, then stood up. Okay. Bear with this a little. It'll be done in no time. Sasuke nodded. Translation: this is going to hurt. Hope it doesn't knock me out for too long. He looked out into the darkness, bracing himself as best he could, while he sensed Kakashi going through a sequence of hand seals. Fujihowan too. Kakashi placed his hand over the cursed seal, and Sasuke braced himself. There was a surge of chakra, and then burning pain in his whole body, concentrated at his neck. He screamed in pain, screwing his eyes shut, trying to wait it out as the marks Kakashi has carefully written twisted and turned about his neck. After a few seconds that felt like forever to Sasuke, the burning stopped, even the slight warmth of the curse seal disappearing. His body was still playing catch-up to the shock of the pain, making him continue to scream for a moment, before flopping forwards to rest his weight on his hands. The world was spinning in and out of focus, and he couldn't seem to breathe enough. Every breath made his already abused ribs hurt. Kakashi moved his hand away. If that curse seal tries to activate again, the power of the Fujihowan will hold it in. Sasuke tried to focus on him, but his eyes refused to cooperate, and Kakashi's voice started to sound more and more far away. However, Sasuke, this jutsu uses your will as the main source. If you lose faith in your power, and your will sways, the curse seal will reactivate. The burning in Sasuke's ribs reached fever pitch, and the darkness of the room seemed to close in on him. How about that, he thought to himself. I managed to stay conscious for him to lecture me. Feels like I won't be hanging around for him to scold me, though Kakashi seemed to be nothing but a white blur in the darkness. Then there was nothing but the darkness, and the ground rushing up to meet him. Hospitals had bad associations for Sasuke, ever since he'd woken up in one with his family gone. Finding himself in a hospital bed brought up a host of bad associations, along with the ghostly memory of pain in his arm along a long faded scar. He sat up slowly, wincing at the new pains that the motion caused across his chest and the back of his neck. Guess Kakashi turned me over to the medical ninjas once he was done with the seal on my neck. Sasuke slowly started stretching out the muscles of his arms and legs, taking note on how fresh the bruises seemed. Not been out for long. Maybe a day or so. He looked at the door, hearing an argument approaching, then cast his eyes around for a likely weapon in case he needed one. He stopped as he finally managed to recognize a voice. Naruto, this is a hospital, said Kakashi from somewhere in the hallway. You should be quiet and calm for the patient's sake. Humph. Sasuke imagined Naruto would be crossing his arms at that. So Sasuke gets to sleep in a nice bed in peace while the rest of us get stuck in that room for hours? It's time to get that lazy jerk out of bed. Kakashi's silhouette appeared against the door's frosted glass window. Just take care. He may still be sleeping. Sasuke smiled a little, and raised his voice so it would carry outside of his room. Well, I would be, if you guys would just keep it down. There was a moment's pause outside the door before it was quickly slid aside and Naruto bounded into the room, followed quickly by Sakura. Kakashi seemed content to walk slowly in behind them and shut the door. Naruto was grinning from ear to ear. Sasuke. He turned to Sakura. Told you no whacked out tadpole thing was gonna keep him down, Sakura-chan. Sakura smiled weakly at Sasuke. I'm glad you're awake, Sasuke-kun. Are you feeling any better? Sasuke rotated his shoulder slowly. The heat from that seal is gone now. The rest of the injuries won't take long to heal. They're mostly just bangs and scrapes. I'm fine, Sakura. He turned to glare at Kakashi. I thought I told you to tell them that I was okay. He asked irritably. Kakashi's mask crinkled into what might have been a smile. For some reason, they didn't believe that I was telling them what you said, and wanted to see for themselves. Naruto grinned. Well, whether Sasuke said it or not, I still won. Take that, Sasuke. Not such an idiot now, am I? Wait until you see my new move, Sasuke. I'm gonna beat you for sure. Sasuke snorted slightly, recognizing the taunt. If it's another stupid jutsu, I'm not going to fall for it. Sakura smiled a little at Sasuke's brag, and moved around the bed slightly. I just want to see that Kakashi-sensei did it, then I'll be happy. Not seeing that horrible mark on his neck will let me forget that horrible exam, I hope. She moved to stand at Sasuke's side, and then gasped. It's spreading. Kakashi-sensei said it would all be okay now, but the mark's even larger than before. Is he going to one day be covered in those black marks? She became aware that Sasuke and Naruto had stopped their taunting and were both watching her. Sakura-chan? Asked Naruto, sounding worried. Sakura turned her attention on Kakashi. Sensei, I don't understand. You said Sasuke-kun was okay now, but the mark's gotten bigger. It looks like it's spreading outwards. I thought he said that it wouldn't cause any more trouble. Sasuke put a hand to his neck, automatically covering the mark, and tried not to panic. It must be the Fujihowan. The mark will be holding in the power of the seal, that's all. I'm not about to be covered in marks the color of dried blood again. I'm not. Now, Sakura, said Kakashi, seeing her worried reaction. That mark is just a barrier to stop the seal from spreading anymore. Sasuke just needed some help to keep it under control. You said everything was okay. You liar! Sasuke-kun still has that mark on his neck, and it can still go out of control. Have you any idea what that thing made him do? Sakura was winding herself up for a rant. All of the stress and worry over the mark was pouring out, and had found a convenient target in Kakashi. That mark is still there. It'll turn him into a demon again. Kakashi noticed Naruto wince at that comment. So Naruto is empathizing with Sasuke? Things have taken a turn for the better. I was obviously right in the arrangements that I made. Out loud, he tried to calm Sakura. The mark is like a cage, Sakura. It can't escape unless Sasuke lets it. He's safe now, or at least safe from the seal. Orochimaru is another matter entirely. I mean to make sure that he never claims Sasuke as a follower. Sasuke grew uncomfortable with the argument. It's like I'm not here, or just some piece of meat to be argued over. Kakashi, said Sasuke, drawing their attention back. Who made it through the fights to the finals? Kakashi rubbed his chin. Well, there's you and Naruto, Hyuga Neji from Guy's squad, Naru Shikamaru and Aburame Shino from your graduating year, the 3 sand ninjas, and 1 sound ninja. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Not Lee? I at least owed him a return match in the Chunin exam in repayment for the beating that saved my life in the prelims. Naruto shuffled a little, looking at the floor. The fuzzy eyebrows lost to that creepy Gaara guy. He used sand from that creepy gourd of his to shatter the fuzzy eyebrow's arm and leg. He's probably going to have to quit being a ninja, and that is too cruel a thing to happen to anyone, to force them to give up on their dreams. He looked up at Sasuke. We drew lots for the order of our fights for the first round of the tournament. You're up against the same guy that almost killed him. Don't you get hurt like that too? You losing your dream of revenge against your brother would probably kill you even if Gaara didn't. Gaara of the Sand? Asked Sasuke. He smirked. Interesting. Looks like I'll have to work hard to pass the first round. What about you, Naruto? Who'd you fight? They obviously didn't offer much of a defense. Humph. Naruto scowled back at Sasuke. I was up against Kiba, and I beat him up, just like I'm gonna do to Neji for Hinata. That jerk. He wasn't fighting her, he was beating her. I don't know what all that crap was about houses. But family shouldn't do that to family when it's not their fault. Sasuke blinked. Kiba's no pushover. Obviously I'm going to have to be in top form if I'm not only going to have to beat Gaara but other high-level genins. I'm not going to take it easy on you, Naruto. When we fight, I won't hold back just because you're my teammate. Naruto grinned. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm gonna give it my all too. You just wait, I'm gonna train lots for this, right Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi nodded. I'm sure the teacher I found you will be up to the task of training you well. You mean you're not? Naruto was stunned. Why aren't you trying to help me? What could possibly be more important? Naruto paused, and an idea came to him. He jabbed an accusing finger at Kakashi. It's Sasuke, isn't it? You're playing favorites, and are gonna train him instead. That's just not fair. Why is it always Sasuke? Sasuke snorted. Just think about it, idiot. Kakashi is the only person who can teach me how to fight better while using my Sharingan. Your style of fighting is compatible to just about any teacher. Kakashi resisted the urge to roll his eyes. And maybe their teamwork isn't so mended after all. Now you two, let's not get so heated over this. He waited for them to break their glaring contest before continuing. Naruto, what Sasuke said is true. I'm the only person he can learn from about the Sharingan. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to play favorites. He bent over to bring himself to eye level with Naruto. I found you a much better teacher than I am. I had to pull in a lot of favors to get him to agree to teach you. Naruto still looked annoyed. I don't want someone else, I want you. Kakashi shook his head. He's probably here already, waiting to meet you. You'll like him, I'm sure. He's very good at what he does. He started to guide a still grumbling Naruto towards the door. Oh, and Sasuke, I'll be waiting at the usual spot at dawn to begin our training. Make sure you're well rested for then. He guided Naruto out the door, and closed it behind him, leaving Sakura and Sasuke alone together. Sasuke knew from looking at her that she was still looking at the mark on his neck. Sakura, did you ask for this? She asked suddenly. Did you ask Kakashi-sensei not to remove something that gave you power, but just help to contain it, so you can keep selling your soul to the devil in your neck for power? She looked angry. How can you even think of doing something like that? Sasuke blinked. She really believes that I'd choose to keep this mark if given the option, when it can make my body freeze in the middle of battle, makes me unable to mold chakra, and turns me into an unfeeling sadist who can't then later remember what he's done. She believes me capable of that. Sakura, this seal was beyond Kakashi's ability to undo. There was no option of removal. What's been done is probably permanent. How can you just accept that, Sasuke-kun? That Orochimaru can keep this thing over you. He can't be meant it kindly. She wrung her hands together. You really scared me in that fight. I thought you were going to lose control again. Sasuke took a deep breath. You were right, Sakura. I should have stepped down rather than fight. I thought I had control, but I didn't. I should have listened to you. That seems to have calmed her down. Just wish I hadn't needed to say it. She'll probably take it the wrong way. Sakura smiled a little. I'm glad you're okay, Sasuke-kun, and that you realize you didn't make a good decision. These things just happen sometimes. She shuffled nervously. Guess you're going to be pretty busy training for the third exam. Do you need me to give you any help? I'll do anything you need me to. Yup, she takes it to mean that I care about her in a way that I really don't. I know she means well, but I've no interest in what she wants. I can't think of anything right now, Sakura. I just want to get home and cleaned up. You should too. If I need anything while I'm training, you'll be the first person I ask. He stretched slowly. And maybe you should do some training yourself. So you have a better chance in the next Chunin exam. Sakura looked at the floor. I guess. I tried my best though, Sasuke-kun. I drew with Ino, but we both dropped unconscious with no winner. I tried to prove I was good enough, but Sasuke shook his head. Don't worry. You'll get better. And I'm glad she didn't go up against Gaara if Lee got that hurt. You should head home, get yourself cleaned up. You'll feel better afterwards. Sakura nodded. I probably would feel better. I came here as soon as the preliminaries were over. I was just so worried. She started to leave, but turned back slightly before reaching the door. Don't overdo your training, Sasuke-kun. If you're exhausted, then you'll lose to Gaara. She smiled a little. And I'll be here, if you need me for anything. Sasuke watched her leave, then rose from his bed and started to search for his clothes. Doubt I'll need your help, Sakura, but the idea will stop you worrying so much. I'm going to be busy. Training to beat Gaara won't be easy, but it'll bring me one step closer to being ready to take on that guy. Discharging himself from the hospital was as easy as it always was, although the paperwork was still rather tedious. Having only the clothes that he'd worn through the second exam, Sasuke was pretty much ready for a shower once he got home, along with a change of clothes. He had decided that those were his priorities before preparing for whatever training Kakashi had in mind. The streets of Konoha were pretty much the same as always, and he could see people glancing at him and muttering to each other as he passed. And I can guess what they're saying. That's the Uchiha boy. Did you hear he's in the third exam this year? Guess it proves what a noble line was lost, that the poor thing could make it that far without a family to guide and train him. He shoved his hands into his pockets and glared at a woman who was obviously staring at him while out and grocery shopping. She blushed at being caught and looked away. I hate that. They look at me like some sort of exhibit in a museum. I should get a sign made up. Uchiha Sasuke endangered species. Maybe charge admission to stare at me. He looked up at a loud clattering from the rooftops. Several orange-clad figures were running about aimlessly, obviously intent on something. One ran past him, giving a pitch-distorted yell. Yo Sasuke, by Sasuke! Sasuke watched the figure go, undecided as to if it was the real Naruto or just a bunshin. Finally he blinked, deciding that it really didn't matter, and that it was just Naruto causing chaos again. Idiot. He started walking again. Could be spending his time training, but is just playing games. Sometimes I wonder if he really means what he says about being Hokage. He can't have time to both train and pull all these stupid pranks. Sasuke did admit there was a good side to Naruto's messing around. Suddenly all the mutters he heard had Naruto's name, and not his attached to them. Funny, they seem to disapprove of him taking the exam. While he's not that good a ninja, I don't see why everyone would dislike the idea so much. His pranks may be annoying, but he's never caused any real harm. Sasuke started running through a list in his mind of what food he had in his apartment, and if any of it would go bad during a probably long absence. If nothing else, it helped to keep his mind off the seal until he got back home. He'd barely gotten the key in the lock when he saw something orange in his peripheral vision. Naruto, he growled warningly, not in the mood for being the victim of any of Naruto's pranks. In response, Naruto just hissed at him. Sure. I don't want the closet pervert to find me. Sasuke blinked. Not the reply I expected. If this is some stupid prank of yours, Naruto shook his head. No way. I really need your help. Sasuke kept the key still in the lock. If you're trying to skip training, I'm not going to help you. Kakashi already found you someone to train with. Naruto held his hands up in a cross position. No way. No chance. I do want to train, just not with that closet pervert. Who the hell did Kakashi set him up with? Wondered Sasuke. For Naruto to think them a pervert, they must be bad indeed. He can't be that bad, Naruto. Even Kakashi reads those books. Naruto shook his head. See, me and the closet pervert have a deal. If I can avoid him until sundown, he'll make Kakashi-sensei train me too. He keeps finding me, and most of my bunshin are gone, and I really need a place to hide. He watched Sasuke carefully. I don't want to have to beg him, but being so filthy there's no way Sakura-chan will hide me until sundown. Sasuke tilted his head, and seemed to be considering his answer. No. Oh come on. Naruto went for his other tactic. Whining. It'd only be for a few hours. And I'll be quiet. You won't even know I'm there. Please? Please? If I let you in, then I get stuck with you messing with my training if you win. Sasuke paused slightly. Why is this guy a pervert anyway? Surely you're in no position to judge. He was seduced by my harem no jutsu. Sasuke blinked a few times, unable to process the likely technique that Naruto had created. Your what? Harem no jutsu, repeated Naruto, enunciating carefully. Sasuke's mouth twitched slightly. Something tells me I really shouldn't ask, but what the hell is that? Naruto grinned. It's great. Defeats any pervert, great or small. First, I use Kaiga Bunshin no Jutsu to create a load of Bunshin, then I just have them use Oiroke no Jutsu. Sasuke blinked again as he tried to get his mind around the concept. So he just ambushes someone with 10 or so naked women? I can see why he called it harem no Jutsu. He considered what the likely response to the technique would be, and then laughed slightly. Idiot. Only you would invent such a stupid jutsu. Hey! Naruto then paused, and grinned. Yano, never thought I could make you laugh. Sasuke cursed himself, and schooled his features back to neutrality. And you never will. Sure, Sasuke. You were laughing and smiling. Must be a really special day. Naruto stuck his arms behind his head, still grinning. Think I'll go see if it's raining ramen, or money. Shut up, idiot. Sasuke turned the key in the door slowly. Besides, there's one main reason why I shouldn't hide you. Huh, I happen to like my apartment being tidy. Sasuke took advantage of Naruto's spluttering to slip inside and bolt the door, before smirking to himself. It took Naruto a moment to catch on to what had happened. Hey! No fair. Come on, Sasuke, let me in. I won't mess anything up, I swear. Sasuke let a smile escape him as he listened to Naruto's complaints. No, sorry, Naruto. I let you off the hook with this closet pervert of yours, and I'll have to put up with you under my feet while training. It's better this way, we both get the full attention of someone, not half. Besides, I've no doubt that Kakashi wouldn't just abandon you to someone who is useless. Stop right there, Naruto-kun. Sasuke frowned at the other voice. I guess that's him now, come to track Naruto down. He heard Naruto yell, then 2 sets of footsteps running away from his door. Figures. Naruto gets himself caught because he's yelling at me. Sasuke was surprised to feel slightly guilty about that fact, but then caught himself. He deserves it. I don't like smiling, and if it wasn't for him I never would have done it. He stepped away from the door and toed his shoes off before proceeding into the apartment. As he had expected, everything was just the way he'd left it. Strange, feels a little off somehow. He shrugged, and headed for the bathroom, where he used the mirror to finally examine his neck. He traced a careful finger over the seal, thinking, it looks like a full Sharingan, although I can see why Naruto called the marks tadpole-like. Strange to think such a small thing could cause so much to happen. He brushed his finger down one of the long lines of script that made up the Fujihoan. And thanks to Kakashi, as long as I ignore the seal's help, it will remain dormant. I hope there never comes a time when I do need it. I get the feeling that the price for any help will be steep. He sighed. I should just accept that it's in the past now, and start focusing on the future again. The 3rd exam is coming, and unless I work hard, I may end up having to pay the price the seal demands in order to win. Sasuke looked at himself in the mirror and frowned. I look like shit. Definitely need to clean myself up. He reached into the shower stall and cranked on the hot water. Sakura had never been one to try to sneak around her parents. For one thing, sneaking anywhere in a ninja village such as Konoha was something of an exercise in futility. For another, while she might complain at her parents for always nagging her, Sakura really did care about them. In the end, it was the fact that she seemed to be trying to avoid them that caused her to be caught when she returned home. She could only stand, looking at her feet as her mother fussed over her, worrying over her daughter's now much shorter hair. Sakura just shuffled from foot to foot, before excusing herself, pleading exhaustion. Her mother let her go only reluctantly. Sakura fled to the upstairs part of the house, and into the bathroom. She cranked on the hot water, filling the bath with warm soapy water while she stripped out of her dirt and sweat-stained clothes. The hot water did much to relieve the dull aches in her limbs, and helped to ease her muscles out of their tense state. Having been in a state of fighting readiness for 6 days had taken its toll on both her body and her stamina, and she felt herself starting to doze in the warm water. As she did, her thoughts turned back, almost unwillingly, to the argument with Sasuke before his fight. He was just so stupid, going ahead when that mark was still there, hurting him. Stupid and stubborn and pig-headed. Why didn't he listen to me? I was worried. She let her head sink under the water, enjoying the feel of the dirt matted into her hair loosening. He's just so obsessed with getting stronger, and I don't know why. I don't know why he'd accept that influence so meekly. Her head broke the surface of the water again, and she dragged her fingers through her hair roughly. I'm scared that he'll do just what Orochimaru said, seek him out for power. Sasuke-kun isn't really like that, I'm sure. He's kind and noble, and works hard. What I saw was just a demon with his face. She paused as a memory rose in her mind. Sasuke, with cruel eyes and a contented smirk on his face, pulling the arms of the sound ninja she had later found was called Zaku, bending the enemy ninja's spine at an unnatural angle. You seem proud of your arms, he said. I never thought that he'd go so far. He should have stopped himself. He can't have wanted it to go that far. But you know he's capable of worse, countered a little voice in the back of her mind unbidden. You heard what he said, there's someone he wants to kill. Sakura shook herself. Don't be so silly. I've said that I want to kill Naruto sometimes. Doesn't mean I really mean it, but he did, countered the little worrying voice. Sasuke-kun wanted to hurt that Sokka person, and however much you like to pretend, you know that what you saw wasn't some demon, but just Sasuke-kun. Sakura shook her head, the tips of her hair flicking water about. No, Her mother tapped on the door lightly. Sakura? Are you okay? Sakura blushed at her outburst. I'm fine, mother. Just fell asleep in the bath. If you're doing that, you should hurry up and get to bed, Sakura. Sakura heard the floorboards creak a little as her mother shifted nervously in front of the door before hurrying off. This is all such a mess. How am I going to help Sasuke-kun if he leaves to train? She started washing her hair, lost in thought. I know Sasuke-kun has always had something dark under the surface, but that's why I love him, want to help him. If he's letting that darkness in him spread because of the mark, then she stopped her train of thought forcibly, and rinsed the shampoo from her hair. Thinking about this now will do no good. She rose from the bath, wrapping herself in a robe, and moved into her bedroom, rubbing her hair with a towel. While her bed seemed to almost call to her, she paused at her desk, looking at the framed picture there. The image of Sasuke glared out at her from behind glass smudged by countless passes of her lips and fingers on his portion of the photo. Naruto's and Kakashi's images both grinned into the room, and her own image still stood between that of Naruto's and Sasuke's, making an attempt at a demure smile. They're going on without me, she thought mournfully. I can't seem to keep up with them, so I'm damn well going to make sure that I'm there for them doing what I'm good at, being someone to talk to who cares about them. She moved away from her desk, and laid down on her bed, figuring that the scolding for sleeping with wet hair would be skipped for once. Sasuke-kun, don't let that mark have a hold on you anymore. Jiraiya knew that nights like this were good on occasion. While spending an evening in the company of women and sake would always be more inviting, he understood that it was only on peaceful nights like this that he could think alone and undisturbed. Across from the rooftop he stood on, he watched Naruto sigh softly in his sleep and turn to sprawl half in and half out of the embed. It had been at Jiraiya's insistence that Naruto had stayed in this village, rather than returning to Konoha, but in truth it made more sense to stay where they could train in secret than to always be returning to a place Jiraiya had no real wish to return to yet. Plus the women in Konoha knew of his reputations, both as Sannin, and as enjoying female company. No, it's better that I stay here. Less dangerous all round. Jiraiya watched Naruto mutter something in his sleep, and was again struck by the similar appearance of Naruto to his former apprentice. I wonder what he would make of his gift to Naruto being the very thing now placing him in danger. He paused in his thoughts as he heard footsteps approaching. Looking up he saw a ninja dressed all in black, including his forehead protector, and whose eyes were guarded by small round sunglasses. It took Jiraiya a moment to remember the identity of the man stood before him. Sorry, Ebisu. Ebisu moved to the lip of the building's roof, and seemed to contemplate Naruto's sleeping state. Jiraiya continued. I stole one of your students. Ebisu shook his head. Not at all. He looked back at Jiraiya. But I am surprised. Hokage-sama has been searching for you, but he could not determine your location. It turns out that you were here, in this village after all. He'll be pleased. Jiraiya shook his head. I have no wish for the third to learn of my presence here just yet. I have things I must do before I can return to Konoha. Ebisu turned to face him worriedly. Has this to do with Orochimaru? Jiraiya snorted. Figures. After all these years, he's still the one foremost in everyone's minds. I'm sorry, Ebisu, but it doesn't. I stopped here to get ideas for my next novel. I'm only passing through. I don't like to get involved in other people's affairs. But we need you! Exclaimed Ebisu, annoyed. The only person who can defeat Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin, is another member. In other words, you, Jiraiya-sama. Does he really think that trying to praise me will work? I have other business to deal with, Ebisu. He turned to look back at Naruto. This boy is troublesome, but reminds me of my own childhood. He needs someone who understands him, not some authority figure that he will rebel against. Ebisu nodded. Naruto-kun is indeed unique. He paused. If you wish to take custody of his training, I will permit it, however. You should know of arrangements made without Naruto's knowledge. Jiraiya nodded slowly. What is there that is secret from him? He already knows of the Kyuubi within him, the second set of chakra which I was going to help him learn about. What other manipulations can be going on behind his back? Ebisu explained. Kakashi-kun has requested that Naruto be back in Konoha 3 evenings from now. While he admits it will disrupt Naruto's training, and that of his own pupil, he seems to believe that in the long run this will be more important than the Chunin exam. Oh? And what can be so important? Ebisu looked at him carefully. Just as I am sure you have noticed how in some ways Naruto-kun is similar to yourself, Orochimaru has taken an interest in another from Naruto-kun's team, the Uchiha brat. Jiraiya was pleased to see Ebisu's confusion at his knowledge. Ebisu, when you travel as much as I do, you tend to listen out for gossip. In this case, word of a group of ninjas who protected a village in the Wave Country spread, as did the name of the bridge. He sighed. So why is it so important that Naruto gets back there? Ebisu pushed his glasses further up the bridge of his nose. Because Naruto-kun and the Uchiha brat as you called him are starting to fight more than they get on. Kakashi wants to stop the separation that a whole month training in isolation might cause, even if it affects their performance in the exam. Humph. If they've no interest in being friends, forcing them together will hardly help. Ebisu pushed his glasses up again, in what Jiraiya was starting to recognize as a nervous gesture. Kakashi-kun seemed to have faith in his scheme. If you and Naruto return to Konoha, You could ask him what his reasoning is. I quite frankly don't know. I'll consider it, Ebisu. Going back to Konoha is not something that I want to do lightly if the Hokage is after me. Jiraiya moved to look at Naruto again, turning his back on Ebisu and effectively ending the conversation. I have faith that you'll do the right thing, Jiraiya-sama. Really, I should have known better, thought Sasuke idly. The bridge rail he was leaning on was starting to dig uncomfortably into his shoulders, but he knew better than to let his discomfort show on his face any more than his irritation at Kakashi. Guess it was just foolish pride that he'd be on time to deal with me rather than with Naruto and Sakura. He gave in to the discomfort of his shoulders and turned to lean with his elbows propped on the rail, looking into the river. How pathetic is it that I missed their prattling? Naruto drawing her attention away from trying to talk to me, and Sakura getting annoyed at his attempts to impress. He sighed slightly, watching as his reflection on the water's surface did the same. Figures. The moment I finally get some peace from them, I find it less appealing than I thought. His eyes caught the movement of fish under the surface. Fish. Naruto never did thank me for helping him catch them. Idiot. The thought felt familiar to Sasuke, so he repeated it with more vehemence. Idiot. Idiot, idiot, idiot. He felt a smile tug at his lips as he imagined Naruto's spluttering response to that. Okay, maybe only sometimes an idiot. He did help with a plan that let us pass the second exam, and he must have had a good plan to get past Kiba in the prelims. Sasuke frowned as he remembered the fight against the rain ninjas. He made copies of us, and kept them up for hours. I'm just standing still compared to him. He defeats Haku, he stops Orochimaru's snake, he covers for me when the curse seal stopped me fighting, and passes the preliminary round. He's a threat for the third exam, I'll have to watch out for him. He paused slightly and blinked, finding the idea of Naruto being a threat unable to match with his view of Naruto as a cheerful fool. Something else lurked beneath that clash of images. But before Sasuke could consider it further, he sensed a familiar presence on the arch over the bridge. Good morning, Sasuke-kun. I had to help a little old lady with her grocery shopping today, so Kakashi trailed off as Sasuke turned to face him. I suppose he's not interested in excuses, just training. Only to be expected. He jumped down, watching Sasuke as he picked up a bag of what Kakashi supposed was weapons, although he could hear no telltale clink of metal from within, probably using clothes and other supplies to muffle sounds. He watched Sasuke settle the load onto his shoulders, before smiling. Okay, Sasuke. Now the hard work begins. Sasuke nodded sharply in understanding, preferring not to speak. Kakashi started to walk off towards the village gates, trusting Sasuke to follow. Konoha isn't the kind of place that's suitable for your training. We'll be heading west to the mountains. Less chance of you destroying something valuable there. And less chance of Orochimaru managing to keep tabs on your movements. He heard Sasuke's grunted assent, and tried not to smile. Quite quiet without Naruto and Sakura, isn't it, Sasuke? Maybe after a few days you'll be ready to admit you miss them. He smiled as he remembered his discussion with Ebisu. Then maybe we can work on your attitude. They walked in silence to the gates, each thinking their own thoughts, where Kakashi turned to face Sasuke. Time for your first set of training. Improving your stamina. He looked out into the forest. The mountains are a day and a half walk from here. I want us to get there in 2 hours. Sasuke nodded once. He seems confident that he can do it. I expect by the time our month is up, he will be able to, but for now, maybe 4 or 5 hours is more likely, until he discovers the correct trick to it. And of course the river may slow us down considerably. He tried not to smile at the thought of Sasuke failing to walk on water and instead ending up soaked. Ashamed that he might succeed from the start, but learning to release chakra steadily into his eyes in order to use his Sharingan will have started him onto the right path. I see no more need for instruction. Tell me when you tire. With that admonition, Kakashi leapt off into the trees, followed by Sasuke, heading for the training grounds. I hate this, thought Sasuke, shoving his hands further into his pockets. I hate sunny evenings, everyone is outside, and at least half of them don't know better than to stare. He slouched through the streets of Konoha, glaring at anyone who dared to meet his gaze. I wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for Kakashi. He gets us back later than the market is open, then says it's an apology when he gives me a ticket for Ichiraku. I don't even like ramen that much. He tried to ignore his stomach growling. But it is free food. He saw the food stand and half considered walking past to find somewhere to eat that was more to his taste, but changed his mind at the protest from his legs at walking any further than he had to. Although he'd had a hot shower and changed his clothes, the last 4 days of hard training were still making their presence felt through screaming muscles and the itching of his chakra pathways. He resisted the urge to rub at his eyes. On top of training, nothing but field rations to eat and sleeping on the rough ground isn't pleasant. It's good for me, but it's kind of lonely. He pushed the curtain out of the way and entered, nodding at the greeting called out by the owner, and sat at the counter. Naruto would love to eat here all the time, I guess, he thought, reading through the menu. He ordered, then sat waiting with a glass of water, ignoring the attempts the owner made at conversation. Maybe I don't miss people as much as I thought. Welcome, oh, it's you, kid. It's been a while. Sasuke looked up to see who had entered, and was rewarded with Naruto grinning manically at him. Sasuke. Long time no see. Sasuke almost grinned back. Naruto's enthusiasm was so contagious. Naruto. Thought you'd be out training. You keep this up, you won't be able to even get near me in the exam. Naruto laughed, and sat next to him. You're smiling again, Sasuke. Keep it up and I may have to start keeping count. Smiling? Damn. Sasuke let his face go slack immediately. You must be imagining things, idiot. I don't smile. Sure you do, teased Naruto. It was thigh-thighs big. He held his hands apart as far as they would go. Sasuke smiled again, despite himself. Idiot. Miss you being around to be an idiot. Kakashi is far too quiet at times. Just sits and reads his damn book. Naruto was half leaning over the counter. Hey mister? Can I have my usual? Sure kid, if you've got the money to pay for it, teased the owner back, already starting to assemble the ingredients. Naruto settled back on his stool and turned his attention back on Sasuke. So? Sasuke just raised an eyebrow back at him, trying to wind Naruto up by his own inaction. So? He mirrored deadpan. Naruto practically exploded. So what have you been doing these last few days? What cool new jutsu is Kakashi teaching you? He grinned. It's never gonna beat what I'm learning. We're gonna be fighting then, pal. You're gonna be toast, Sasuke snorted. So that's what you've been doing, Naruto. Sleeping all day, making up wild dreams of beating me. Naruto folded his arms and pouted. Just you wait. I learned all that other stuff, I'll learn this too. He glared at Sasuke, who settled into silence. So come on, what have you been learning? Sasuke shook his head. What fool tells his enemy his fight plan? Is that what I am to you? An enemy? Sasuke paused. In the strictest sense, yes, you are. I have to beat you in the exam. So why does you calling me that make me feel so uncomfortable? You're my enemy for now, Naruto. But you're still my teammate. Let's just agree not to ask about each other's training, okay? Naruto turned his attention back to behind the counter. You seen Sakura-chan at all? Sasuke shook his head. No. I pretty much only just got back. Kakashi wants us to set out early tomorrow as well, so you're just here tonight? Me too. Ero-sennin wants to go back to those waterfalls again tomorrow. Che. I know what he's after, and he can't fool me by calling it research. Sasuke paused. If you're so busy training, and he wanted to stay there, why'd you come back to Konoha? He said I was starting to smell from all the training. Oh, Uchiha-san, enjoy your meal. The waitress set the steaming bowl down in front of him. It suddenly hit Sasuke just how hungry he was. The ramen smelled delicious, even if it wasn't a food he was particularly fond of, and his stomach let out a low growl. Naruto laughed. Hasn't Kakashi-sensei been feeding you? Shut up, idiot, retorted Sasuke, blushing. He wasn't used to his stomach protesting so loudly. He picked some chopsticks out from the pot, separated them, and started to eat. He blinked. This is actually pretty good. I can see why Naruto likes to eat here when he can. He continued eating, then paused as he sensed that Naruto was still watching him. What is it? Ire. Sasuke drew a mental line from Naruto's eyes to where he was probably looking. At my neck. Sasuke quickly moved a hand to check that his collar was still in place, masking the curse seal from general view. He tugged at it, raising it slightly, and shifted his position, so Naruto couldn't see it. Naruto looked away. It's still there, huh? Sasuke poked at the floating noodles with his chopsticks, turning his gaze away from Naruto. It's not about to wash off with a little soap and water, Naruto. I already tried that. Wish it had worked. But I'm not going to be so stupidly hopeful again. I should just grow up and accept that this seal is here to stay. Naruto spoke softly, more softly than Sasuke thought the loudmouth was capable of. Is it still hurting you? No. Sasuke kept his eyes fixed on the bowl in front of him. Nothing like before. Sometimes it itches, like it wants me to use it or something, but I can push it away now. Kakashi might not have known how to remove it, but he certainly did know how to control it. Naruto nodded, not wanting to break into Sasuke's thoughts. He sure looks unhappy. For him anyway. Sort of more frowny. His thoughts were derailed by a bowl being set in front of him. Here you go, kid, Naruto grinned, reaching for the chopsticks. Thanks, mister. Itadakimasu. Sasuke turned slightly, his latest mouthful half to his mouth, and watched in horror as Naruto started to almost inhale ramen from his bowl. He turned to the restaurant owner. Isn't he going to choke? Hasn't yet in all the years he's been coming here, replied the man good-naturedly. Finally Naruto slammed the bowl down, taking in a deep breath. Ah, that was good. Sasuke blinked. How can you tell? You couldn't have even tasted any of that. He finished his own noodles. Then again, if you choked on noodles here, I'd not have to fight you in the exam. He raised the bowl to his lips, drinking the miso. Hey! I've seen you stuff your face just as much, Sasuke, mocked Naruto, a grin spreading on his face as he remembered sitting in Tasuna's house, contesting over eating just as they had over tree climbing all day. From the slight smile Sasuke seemed to have on his face, Naruto thought he might be remembering the same thing. That does it. I'm definitely gonna keep count. Try to make him smile as much as possible. It almost never reaches his eyes like that. Sasuke shook himself. Just because you have no manners. He sighed and looked at the empty bowl. Can see why you like this place. Heh heh. Naruto just smiled. The restaurant owner paused in front of them. Do you want anything more? Sasuke was considering the question when he saw an unusual green flash by Naruto. He turned to look, only to see Naruto shifting through some coins in one hand and a green purse in the shape of a frog in his other. Doesn't look like he has enough by my count. His suspicions were confirmed when Naruto sighed and started sliding the coins back through the mouth of the purse. No thanks, old man. I'll just settle with this. Naruto held up a piece of folded paper that Sasuke recognized as the mirror image of the ticket Kakashi had given him, although significantly more rumpled. The man nodded, and reached out for the paper. Sasuke watched Naruto part with it reluctantly, then slide off the stool. See ya, Sasuke. Wait. Sasuke turned to the restaurant owner. Same again. Both times. He turned to see Naruto starting to open his mouth. Just sit down, shut up, and enjoy it, Naruto. Shutting up. Naruto slipped back onto the stool. They both waited in silence for the food, then ate the same as before, Sasuke in smooth motions, Naruto in great gulps. Naruto still couldn't look at Sasuke as he paid the bill. Sasuke? Sasuke pocketed his wallet. What, Naruto? Naruto's mouth worked around a few times before he spoke. Why'd you do that? Think I'd want you to starve or something? You annoy me, but not that much. You're going to pay me back for that eventually, and anyway, we're both training hard, and I wanted the company while I ate. Sasuke blinked. Did I really say that? I can't have really meant that. Naruto seemed equally confused and off-kilter from the comment. Thanks, I guess. Yeah. Sasuke stuck his hands in his pockets, and started walking off back towards his apartment. He then paused. Oh, and Naruto? Keep eating like that, and you'll have to learn the Akimichi clan's jutsu instead. Naruto glared good-naturedly at him. Still gonna kick your ass. Well, you can try. Sasuke started walking again. Later, Naruto. Kakashi found him at the training grounds, one hand resting on the center stump. Kakashi smiled as he remembered his own times through the bell test, first as the student, then as the instructor. Kakashi-kun. Jiraiya turned to him. The years seem to have been kind. To you as well. Kakashi looked out at the grounds. Fond memories? Jiraiya snorted in amusement. Somewhat. Happy times long gone. He approached carefully. So you know? Kakashi nodded. Ebisu told me that you'd asked to take Naruto under wing. If none of you are troubled by this, I have no complaints. He sighed. The night is cold. Wouldn't you rather continue this in a warm bar? Jiraiya chuckled. Indeed. But I've no wish to be recognized. So tell me why I risked that to come here when Naruto should be training? You know he doesn't tire like other genin. That's a good point. Naruto is a very unique person. Ended up here though. Kakashi laid a hand on the stump. We have 3-man cells for a reason. After a lot of different ideas, it was found that this one worked the best. 2 male, 1 female. Generally works. But my team is anything but a generality. He let his hand slide off the post. This to do with Sasuke? Asked Jiraiya. He saw Kakashi's one visible eye widen in surprise. Naruto has trouble being quiet, and that name came up frequently when he wasn't being quiet. Indeed. An old colleague of yours has taken an interest in Sasuke, and has already branded him. What he intends to do with him, I do not know, but it's fair to assume that he's still interested in his old goals. Jiraiya nodded. The legendary Sharingan of the Uchiha would help him learn all the jutsu in existence. And you, Kakashi, are living proof that you do not need to be a blood Uchiha in order to use that power. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. But if that was the case, why mark him? Why not just take the eye, and leave the boy for dead? There must be something else going on behind this, and if that is the case, there may well be schemes within schemes here. Orochimaru was never one to lack in subtlety unless rushed. You are taking precautions against Orochimaru trying anything else? As much as can be without knowing his intent. Kakashi paused, checking that they were unobserved. We train far from Konoha, and I do not allow Sasuke to wander. Orochimaru no doubt has spies throughout Konoha, and I have my own suspicions on their identities. By keeping our returns to Konoha at a minimum, it gives them less chance to intercept Sasuke and try to either kidnap him, or appeal to his sense of revenge. You know, Kakashi, the minimum would be none at all. Kakashi shook his head. Naruto and Sasuke share a deep bond that manifests itself as rivalry. It is a very potent training tool, but if allowed to progress too far will hinder the work within the team. He paused slightly. I'm sure someone with as many contacts as yourself has heard of the demise of Gato of the Gato Corporation. He received a nod from Jiraiya. Then you must also know that my team played a part in that. Those events disrupted the carefully built teamwork as first Sasuke saved Naruto, and then Naruto saved Sasuke. Neither likes being in debt to the other, and neither likes that the other has made great strides in their abilities. He smiled a little. They are, of course, blind to their own improvements. Jiraiya nodded. And so the teamwork collapses as each tries to prove themselves better than the other. But something has changed. Kakashi paused slightly, gathering his thoughts. In the second part of the Chunin exam, they started to trust each other again, and from what I have gathered, were happy to watch out for each other. I found it rather startling, myself. This trust seems to have formed from them being unable, singularly, to defeat Orochimaru. Granted, Zabuza was no S-ranked criminal, but he was significantly out of their league when we first met. Yet, with teamwork, they managed to almost cause his defeat. For two genin, fresh from the academy, that is quite a feat. Then, after their defeat at Orochimaru's hands, they again cooperate, and again win, despite being beaten and exhausted. Jiraiya nodded. And now, you're afraid that because the last thing they did was the individual preliminary rounds, their old rivalry will grow stronger as each thinks the other is better. He sighed. Kids these days. So you agree with my idea? Jiraiya considered it. It could well help them. I do not know what Orochimaru has thought of Naruto, but he has tried to influence him. He saw Kakashi look worried. Don't panic so much. He placed the seal on top of the fourths. It was preventing Naruto from using his chakra correctly. As soon as I found the work, I undid it, and Naruto seems to have suffered no ill effects from the time it was there. Kakashi nodded. Naruto did seem to behave strangely against Kiba. Oh? What happened then? Kiba is the son of the Inuzuka clan. Like all the other ninja that the clan has produced, he relies on a dog and various feral jutsu. Kakashi smiled. Naruto took advantage of that fact. He farted at Kiba, who was in a heightened senses state. Jiraiya blinked, then roared with laughter. That boy is full of surprises. Luck seems to favor him. Kakashi nodded. That it does. I just want to make sure that it continues that way. It already seems to have found him an excellent teacher. Jiraiya grunted, accepting the praise grudgingly. You may well be right, Kakashi. Keeping our charges apart may hurt your team in the long run. I'll not stand in your way over this, but I'm going to teach Naruto in my own way. Tell your charge not to discount anything in the exam. Kakashi nodded. Likewise. We will be returning to Konoha every 4 days. Whether you decide to order Naruto to return at that time or not is your own decision. It is my hope that they pick up the pattern for themselves, and start wishing to see each other. Jiraiya nodded. I shall try a few things, so that Naruto doesn't suspect your hand in this. It might force him to take the opposite path simply in spite. Hopefully, we shall have no need to meet further before the final exam. He nodded sharply. May the best pupil win. It was a bright, warm evening, and the streets of Konoha were packed with people going about their business. Naruto walked along the streets with a spring in his step, and a grin on his face, determined not to let the scowls of the passers-by get to him. I bet Sasuke will be surprised to see me, he thought, and fiddled with the slip of paper in his pocket. Never thought the whole ninja registration thing was any use. They wouldn't even let me use that awesome picture. But they did give me Sasuke's address when I asked. He frowned. They weren't too happy about that. Guess members of the same team usually know where each other live. He stopped at the crossroads and checked the street names before continuing on. Sasuke's sure going to get a surprise when I turn up. I even have enough money to pay him back for last time. Maybe he'll even come with me. It was fun having company last time, and Ero-sennin only seems to want to chase girls. Naruto shuddered at the thought of having to perform Oiroke no Jutsu again. That guy is a total pervert. Naruto paused as he realized he was getting into one of the wealthier parts of town. Sasuke lives here? He pulled the paper out of his pocket, and checked the hastily drawn map on the back. I guess he lives in that building over there. He moved forwards, taking in the differences between his home and Sasuke's. Naruto could see that Sasuke lived in what was probably a small apartment, just like he did, but the whole building looked in good repair, with fresh, uncracked paint that was not so new as to suggest recent repairs. The windows were all clean and whole, and as he approached he could see that the floors and stairs were swept clean. All in all, it was a much nicer building than Naruto was used to living in, and that made him feel a little like he was trespassing. He ascended to the first floor, and moved along the walkway to what he had been told was Sasuke's door. Oh well. At worst he'll just tell me to get lost. He raised a hand and rapped on the door. Sasuke? You back from training? Silence answered him. Undaunted, Naruto shuffled around to peer in the window. Sasuke? From what he could see, the apartment was painfully neat, like the few in rooms that Naruto had stayed in on missions. A few possessions lined the shelves, and Naruto could see a framed picture on a desk. Other than that, nothing that definitively showed that Sasuke lived there apart from a stylized fan on a back wall which resembled the one Naruto had seen Sasuke wear. Naruto sighed. Guess he's not here after all. He scuffed his foot against the floor in disappointment, then walked off. Should probably save money and not eat at Ichiraku after all. Probably be no fun without company. It gets boring when Ero-sennin just peeks at girls all day and never talks to me. He kept walking, now with less spring in his step. And I probably can't ask Sakura-chan. She'd never want to go out with me, and Iruka-sensei is busy. Good evening, Naruto-kun. Where are you going in such a hurry? Naruto stopped and grinned, looking back at the person who had interrupted him. Kabuto-san. I haven't seen you in ages. Are you feeling better now? Kabuto nodded. Yes, thank you, much better than I did at the end of that survival course. And you? I heard that you got into the final, along with Sasuke-kun? Naruto beamed. Sure we did. None of the enemies were that tough. You should have stayed and tried to get through yourself. Naruto paused. How is that Yoroi guy? Sasuke went kinda rough on him, But, it's okay, Naruto-kun. Yoroi agreed to the terms of the exam, and I'm sure that he was just as rough on Sasuke-kun. I'm sure the hospital will release him soon. Kabuto adjusted his glasses slightly. In the meantime, I find myself without my team and feeling a little lonely. Would you like to join me for dinner? My treat? Sure, replied Naruto. You were so great telling us about the first exam and all, it was a shame you never made it all the way. There's always next year, said Kabuto, starting to walk. I was going to eat at the Ichiraku. Is that okay with you? Hey. More than okay, Kabuto-san. It's my favorite place to eat. Kabuto smiled slightly. Really? Imagine that. Naruto slammed the drain bowl back onto the counter. Ah, that was great. Kabuto laughed. You really seem to enjoy your food, Naruto-kun. Do you want any more? Naruto looked at the 3 bowls stacked in front of him. Well, yes, but I can't really let you buy me any more, can I? He shook his head. I'm fine. Thanks for buying. It's no problem. To tell the truth, I was rather surprised to find you wandering alone. Shouldn't you be training with your teammates? Kabuto shifted his glasses slightly. Kakashi-sensei is training Sasuke. I'm training with someone else. Naruto tried not to let the words get to him, but it still hurt that Kakashi had chosen Sasuke over him. Kabuto sighed. Well, that is to be expected. Uchiha Sasuke is a superior genin, he should have a superior teacher. People like you or I just aren't in their league. I can do anything he can, protested Naruto. Sasuke isn't so great, but everyone thinks he is. I'm gonna show them all in the last exam, and Sasuke's never going to know what hit him. Naruto blinked, confused. But what other people think doesn't matter. He respects me now, he would not have talked to me here last time if he didn't. But Kakashi-sensei did choose him over me. Kabuto patted his shoulder gently. I'm sure you believe that, Naruto-kun, but Sasuke comes from a long line of genius ninjas, interrupted Naruto. I've heard all of that crap before, Kabuto-san, and while that's true, it doesn't mean Sasuke is any better than I am. He grinned slightly as he imagined Sasuke buried under a heap of toads. Just you wait, I'll surprise you all. Kabuto smiled. I'm sure you will, Naruto-kun. You have a talent for being unpredictable. It largely makes up for your deficiencies, and I'm sure it will make it that much harder for Sasuke to beat you. Che, you talk like Sasuke's already won. Naruto folded his arms. Don't you trust me, Kabuto-san? It's not that, Naruto-kun, said Kabuto. It's just that I know your limits, and that they're bound to be lower than Sasuke-kun's. Sasuke, muttered Naruto. Always about him, isn't it? Kabuto followed Naruto back to his apartment silently, never letting the genin sense his presence. Naruto seemed to be agitated and muttering to himself, which pleased Kabuto. Seems that I scored a direct hit on Naruto-kun's insecurities. This should help Orochimaru in the long run by breaking Naruto-kun's influence on Sasuke-kun. He watched Naruto stomp dejectedly up the stairs to his apartment. Keeping him angry at Sasuke will make sure that his influence on the boy goes the other way now. We can't have Sasuke-kun having any ties to this village worth keeping. He moved away silently and started back towards his stakeout position near Sasuke's apartment. Kakashi obviously thinks himself one step ahead of us. He almost was by having Sasuke leave the village to train. It was just foolish of them to return just to see Naruto-kun, when just a little push can change their feelings towards one another. He settled back into position to watch and wait. Orochimaru gets angry when others take an interest in what he covets. Sakura was tired. In fact, she considered that to be an understatement. In her opinion, she was drop down dead at any moment, tired, but that wasn't going to stop her, not anymore. The wooden post in front of her bore the marks from her attacks, including a few deep grooves from kunai throws that had somewhat missed their target. Despite her best efforts, however, the post still remained standing. It infuriated her. Aya! She launched another kick, clumsy with tiredness and frustration, and succeeded in only stubbing her toe as her foot connected at the wrong angle. She knelt to rub at it, sighing. Guess when I can't even do that right, it's time for me to call it a day. She sat and started to stretch out her body, letting it warm down from the training, like she had been taught. Run through the fields and seek strength is all well and good, but I wish I had it easy like Naruto and Sasuke-kun do. They wouldn't be tired after this, and they aren't training alone. She paused, realizing that with both them and Kakashi gone and Ino helping with Shikamaru's training, she was effectively friendless. She'd been inspired to try to work after visiting Lee in the hospital. Even battered, he'd refused to stop training, and that led Sakura to realize just how lazy she was being in her own training. And if I don't start to work hard soon, then I might even get reassigned to another team because I can't keep up with Sasuke-kun. She sighed, and bent to touch her toes. Guess I even care about Naruto in a funny way. Life seems so dull without them both around, even if I did spend all my time breaking up fights between them. Satisfied that she wasn't about to injure herself, she started to walk back, admiring the sunset. I wonder what they're doing. I haven't seen them in a week, so I guess that they're training somewhere else. She kept walking, remembering the tree climbing exercise. Naruto sure surprised me by asking for help. Guess he's really changed. He's still a bother, but it's a bother I miss. She moved a hand to her hair, unsticking it from the back of her neck. Shower before dinner, I guess. Training always makes me feel rather dirty. It was while in the shower that Sakura heard a gentle rapping on the door to the house. It wasn't unusual for guests to call at the Harino household. Both her parents led active social lives, even if neither of them were active ninja like she was. Sakura tilted her head back into the stream of water, listening to the faint murmur of her mother as she spoke with the guest. Her mother seemed a bit flustered from what Sakura could hear, but that probably was because of dinner approaching, and her mother wishing the guest to leave so she could finish preparation. After a while, she heard a low murmur reply to her mother's. Obviously a male visitor then. She paid it no real mind, instead turning the water off and preparing to return to her room. Sakura! You have a visitor! Sakura winced at the call through the house. Always so noisy. Never get any peace. I'm busy, Mom. Can you tell them to wait a bit? Sakura was rewarded by continuing mumbles as she moved to her bedroom and started to dress. She left the door open a crack to listen to the conversation. I guess you're busy preparing for the exam then. Sakura told me that you did really well to get through. It's a shame she didn't. Do you watch out for her on missions? She is my girl after all, and I just want her to be safe. Obviously Naruto then, thought Sakura, busily getting the worst of the water out of her hair. Mom is talking away at him, and he can't get a word in edgeways. She listened to her mother prattle on for a while longer, before frowning. I've never known Naruto to be this quiet before. She quickly pulled on a clean dress, before heading back downstairs. She found her mother standing at the doorway, talking animatedly. In all, that wasn't surprising. Sakura knew her mother enjoyed chatting and gossiping. It was the visitor that surprised her. Sasuke-kun? Why is he here? He's never visited before. Sakura could see tension in Sasuke's frame, which surprised her. She had only seen such worry and fear once before, on their first mission out of the village, when Zabuza called out vague threats from his hiding place in the mists. Sakura was confident that only she could see that, while her mother saw only the politely blank expression on his face. Why has Sasuke-kun come here, and why does Mom scare him so much? Sakura hurried over, smiling. I'm here, Mom, I'm here. Hi Sasuke-kun, is everything alright? Sasuke grunted something that could have been interpreted as the word fine. Sakura saw her mother smile. Do you want to stay for dinner, Sasuke-kun? I'm sure I can make our meals split between 4 as easily as 3. I'm sure Sakura would love for you to stay, and you can't be eating too well, considering she trailed off as Sasuke glared at her. I want to talk with Sakura, Harino-san, he said, choking out the san as if it was a mere formality, rather than with any real respect. He turned towards Sakura. Are you busy? Sakura tried to avoid her mother's gaze. No, then come with me. He turned to Sakura's mother and executed a sharp, formal bow before turning on his heel and walking off. Sakura was slightly stunned at his actions but shook it off, reaching for her sandals. I'll be back later, Mom. I'm sure Sasuke-kun just wants to talk privately about something, that's all. Well, it's certainly not a date with that attitude, replied her mother. Okay, go, just don't expect dinner to still be warm if you're too late back. Sakura nodded then took off after Sasuke. I don't understand. Sasuke-kun has never come to my house before. Could it be that he's missing me? That made her smile, even as she hurried after him. That's obviously it. His training has finally made him realize how much he likes me, but he doesn't want to admit it in front of my family. So now we're going to find a cozy little spot where he can finally tell me how he feels. She finally caught up to him, and moved to put her arm around his. Sakura, cautioned Sasuke in a warning tone. Sakura withdrew her arm and tried to be content at just walking by his side. At least he seems less tense now. I wonder why Mom made him like that. Sasuke continued to move further into town, much to Sakura's disappointment, before stopping near one of the main streets. Sakura tried to smile. It's a little more public than I hoped for, but maybe he doesn't trust himself to be alone with me now he's realized his feelings. What is it, Sasuke-kun? Have you seen Naruto lately? Sakura blinked a few times, trying to shift mental gears. Naruto? Why would I have seen him? He's not in Konoha? Sakura sighed. As far as I know, both you and he are out training all the time. She put her hands on her hips. What does that matter? I'm here, he's not, we can finally have some peace and quiet. She saw Sasuke look away, to where she could just make out the corner of the Ichiraku ramen house. You're only interested in Naruto, then? She asked angrily. Not me, Sasuke-kun? Sasuke seemed to jerk back to himself to look at Sakura with a puzzled expression, before stuffing his hands into his pockets, and trying to have a more neutral expression. I'm interested in you too, Sakura, he replied, stumbling over the words. Sasuke mentally cringed at how Sakura would likely take the sentiment, but could find no better way to reassure her. You're both on my team. Naruto just owes me money. He shrugged slightly. Kakashi is too quiet during the times we're not training. Last time I was in town I met up with Naruto by chance. He was noisy. Sakura smiled a little. You're lonely, Sasuke-kun, but you can't say that. So now you look for him hoping that he's lonely too. You know, Sasuke-kun, my mother's cooking is terrible. I'd rather eat out. Maybe if you keep me company, Naruto will come along? She tried not to look too hopeful. It would be a kind of date, wouldn't it? I just hope Mom forgives me for not coming home for dinner. Sasuke paused in consideration. You would help me watch for him? Sure. Sakura started to walk towards the Ichiraka. And I want to hear all about what you and he have been doing. It's no fun being stuck here in Konoha while you guys are gone. Sasuke followed behind her. Only a fool would discuss plans for the upcoming battle in earshot of their enemies. He moved into the restaurant, and nodded at the friendly greeting the owner gave. Sakura sat beside him. Then what do you want to talk about? Sasuke considered for a while before answering. I don't know. Sakura smiled at him and placed an order. Well, what did you and Naruto talk about? Didn't really talk, replied Sasuke. He leant forwards over the counter slightly to order, then sat back. We spent most of our time arguing. Sakura laughed. Naruto's always picking quarrels with you, Sasuke-kun. He should listen to what you have to say more. Perhaps. Sasuke steepled his hands on the counter and rested his chin on them. Perhaps you listen too much. Sakura was confused. What can he mean by that? I try very hard to listen to him, to what he wants from me. She sighed slightly. So how is it that Naruto owes you money, Sasuke-kun? Sakura thought she saw a muscle twitch in Sasuke's jaw before he replied. He didn't have enough to cover his bill here. That was very noble of you, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke seemed a little distracted by that comment. Whatever. I wonder what did happen between him and Naruto. Sasuke-kun seems to be acting so oddly for him over this. She watched him. So how have you been while training? Is Kakashi letting you get enough rest between training sessions? Are you getting enough to eat? Because I'm sure I could get my mother to give you something to take back with you. I'm fine, Sakura. He looked up at the store owner, still busy preparing the food. Hey mister. Has Naruto been in since I last was? The owner looked thoughtful for a moment, turning his attention away from his pans. Why, he was here yesterday, along with another friend. Sasuke looked puzzled. What friend was it? Nara Shikamaru? Inuzuka Kiba? I don't think it was any of them. The owner returned to his work. He was a bit older than you are, with silver hair and glasses. He paid for Naruto, too. Sakura resisted the urge to complain. Stupid, freeloading Naruto. Taking food off someone else because he couldn't con Sasuke-kun into it, I bet. An older ninja? Asked Sasuke. But still a kid? Maybe 16, 17? Dark eyes, monochromatic clothes? He received a slow nod. Could well be, young man. Sakura thought about this. Sounds sorta like Kabuto-san, I guess. After all, he likes Naruto, and he would be around. Sasuke nodded. It couldn't be his teacher from that description. He looked up as he and Sakura received their orders. Thanks. He focused his attention on the bowl. You know, I don't really trust that Kabuto. He seemed very quick to give up in the exam, but he was hurt, replied Sakura around a mouthful of ramen. He said he'd try again next year. You can understand why someone wouldn't take such a risk as you did to get through, maybe. Sasuke seemed to think for a while. I wonder what he and Naruto talked about. With any luck you can ask him yourself, Sasuke-kun, replied Sakura. I can try to find out when he's next in Konoha for you? Sasuke sighed slightly. With my training I come back to Konoha every 4 days. I stay the night, and resupply and leave in the morning. Maybe by the time I come back Naruto will have come to see you. You can tell him, I guess, but Sakura chewed at her bottom lip nervously. Why do you want to see him anyway, Sasuke-kun? Why can't we just, enjoy the quiet? Because it's too quiet. Sakura gave up trying to make conversation after that. She and Sasuke ate in silence, paid their bill, then Sasuke walked her back to her house. Part of Sakura wanted to gloat that this was probably a date, but part of her knew better. Sasuke's feelings about her hadn't changed. When she got back, she was scolded by her mother for missing dinner as expected. Sasuke was invited in, which he declined. Sakura was surprised to notice the stiffness and formality had returned to his movements. Finally, after her mother had insisted on Sasuke taking away with him a bundle that comprised of the share of Sakura's dinner as leftovers, he departed. Sakura just moved dejectedly up to her room. Guess as dates go, that was pretty rotten. He didn't seem to want to talk about us, just about Naruto. She sighed, and rubbed at her eyes. If I didn't know better, I'd think he wasn't interested in girls at all. Still, we had one night together, and hopefully, if Naruto does come to see me, we can have more nights together. She smiled, and looked at the group picture propped on her desk. Guess I do miss that loudmouth brat too, Sasuke-kun. Sakura walked along the road in the direction of the Ichiraku ramen house feeling vaguely conflicted. Part of her was hoping that Naruto would indeed be there, eating and laughing. The other part, however, the part that was still in love with Sasuke, was screaming at her to just turn back and go home. After all, I know when Sasuke-kun will return to Konoha. If I don't tell Naruto, that means I can go out with Sasuke-kun again, without Naruto interfering. She sighed. But it's not right. Sasuke-kun asked me to do this as a friend, I think. Or at least as close to one as he has. He's trusting me over this, and I don't want to abuse that trust just to get a date out of him. She thought back over their meeting, remembering how lonely Sasuke had seemed, just for a moment, before he'd recovered his bravado. He wants company, obviously Naruto's, but mine as well, I think. Else he would not have come to see me to ask. He'd just asked at Ichiraku. Sakura smiled at this revelation and rounded the corner to the street on which Ichiraku was located. There she was both relieved and disheartened to see the familiar orange-clad figure sat on a stool. I could turn back, but she sighed, straightened her shoulders, and approached where Naruto was sitting. As she got closer, Sakura could see the familiar form of Iruka sat with Naruto, who was laughing at something Naruto said. Smiling, Sakura moved to sit on the stool next to Naruto. Naruto? Naruto blinked, then turned away from Iruka to face her, beaming. Sakura-chan. I haven't seen you in ages. Are you doing okay? What have you been up to? Iruka laughed slightly. Slow down, Naruto. Sakura can only answer one question at a time, even if she still wishes she could answer them all at once. He smiled at Sakura, showing that he was only teasing her over her former study habits. Sakura smiled back at him. Is it okay for me to join you, sensei? I don't want to be a bother. Of course Sakura-chan can stay. Interrupted Naruto before Iruka could answer. She can stay, right Iruka-sensei? Iruka nodded. Of course she can. He looked at them both and smiled. I'm glad to see that you're getting along better now. Used to be that I'd be too scared to sit this close to you, for fear of a fight breaking out. Sakura blushed and giggled slightly. We were pretty awful, fighting each other when we first met. I don't know why that's changed, I'm just glad it has. How have you been, Naruto? Is your teacher pushing you as hard as Kakashi-sensei is pushing Sasuke-kun? That pervert? Naruto snorted and folded his arms. He spends all his time watching girls, leaving me to train alone. I'll show him. I was just tired. Tomorrow I'll do that jutsu perfectly. He nodded twice, as if to say and that's that. Sakura blinked. I thought Kakashi-sensei had found you a good teacher? One that you would like. Although I can understand the idea of two perverts getting along. Naruto shook his head. I ditched the closet pervert as soon as I could. He just lectured me all the time. Said I wasn't concentrating enough. He grinned as he remembered Jiraiya's frog knocking Ebisu into unconsciousness, totally ignoring Iruka's suppressed laughter. Then Erosenin came along. He wouldn't teach me at first, but I managed to talk him round. He's taught me a really cool jutsu that's sure to beat whatever Kakashi-sensei is teaching Sasuke. Sakura smiled a little at that. Oh, I'm sure what Sasuke-kun is learning is much better, she teased. Naruto blinked. You've seen Sasuke? He's told you what he's learning? Is he okay? Is he mad at me or something? That why he's not here? I've got the money to pay him back, honest. Calm down, Naruto, said Sakura, still smiling. Sasuke-kun talked to me when he was in town 2 days ago. He's out training somewhere with Kakashi-sensei most of the time, that's why he's not here. She paused. I should tell him. I really should. He'd find out anyway eventually, and they both want to see each other. He's going to be back in Konoha in 2 days. He trains for 3 days, comes back on the 4th. She paused again and shifted slightly. He was asking about where you were last time I saw him. Naruto's eyes widened. He was asking about me? He snorted. Obviously he doesn't think I'll pay him back. That's so unfair. Just because I was a little short that one time. You're always a little short, Naruto, teased Sakura. Hey, Iruka started to choke on his ramen from laughing. He thumped his chest a few times to clear his windpipe before speaking. Naruto has the biggest spirit of all my previous students. He smiled. But that can't make up for the fact that he's short. Iruka-sensei. Whined Naruto. Stop being so mean. I'm going to grow taller really soon, I just know it. I'm sure you will, Naruto, replied Iruka good-naturedly. Unfortunately I need to get going. I have a stack of papers to mark before tomorrow. Eh? You're going already, Iruka-sensei? Asked Naruto, looking at his only 3 empty bowls of ramen. Iruka nodded, laying the correct notes and payment on the table. It's not that I want to, Naruto. I just have other things I need to do. Naruto turned to Sakura. Sakura-chan? You're not about to leave me all alone, are you? Don't be stupid, Naruto. I can stay with you a bit longer. Sakura smiled at him. Besides, I've missed having you and Sasuke-kun around. No one else seems to cause half as much trouble around Konoha as you do. Sakura-chan. Naruto grinned at her, before turning back to Iruka. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Are you going to be watching the final exam like you did the prelims? Iruka shook his head. It's no good, Naruto. I won't be able to get leave from teaching in order to do that. It was a condition on me being able to greet you at the end of the second exam, and view the preliminaries. Naruto looked unhappy at that, but nodded. Sure, I understand. I'll tell you all about how I beat up Sasuke afterwards, right? Right. Iruka smiled at him. We can come here, and you can tell me all about it. He nodded at Sakura. I'll see you around, Sakura. Naruto watched him leave with a faint pouting expression on his face. Sakura sighed. Guess I should try to cheer him up. He always looks better with a smile. Hey, Naruto? Naruto turned back to her with a grin that Sakura found mildly frightening. How nice is Iruka-sensei? Leaving us alone on our date together? What? Sakura only realized she'd shrieked as she felt the attention of the bar owner and his assistant on her. She blushed and lowered her voice. This isn't a date, Naruto. I just came out to tell you about Sasuke, and to see you. It's far too quiet without the two of you fighting, so I've had to keep myself busy. Naruto crinkled his nose slightly. If it's just the two of us, isn't it a date? He smiled, then yawned slightly. Maybe I better go. Ero-sennin makes me work really hard, so I'd better get up early to go back. He slid off the stool, and grinned at Sakura. Need to work hard so I can come back and see you and Sasuke, huh? Sakura nodded. Be good for us to be together again. The last time was when Sasuke-kun was in hospital. That's right. Feels like ages ago. Naruto looked thoughtful, then shrugged. Oh well. Later, Sakura-chan. He ran off, back towards his apartment. Sakura sighed. There goes my nice quiet date with Sasuke-kun. Sasuke was not a vain person by nature. The small mirror in his bedroom was largely ignored by him, even while preparing to go out. It was only at the last moment that he decided to check his appearance, and frowned at the result. There were a few bruises along his arms, the usual cuts and scrapes, and a fading black eye from where he'd been a bit slow to dodge the hilt of Kakashi's kunai. At least Kakashi was using the butt, not the point, or else there would be another resemblance between us. Sasuke adjusted his arm covers, pulling them to cover as much of his arms as possible, then examined the effect in the mirror. Still look like I've lost the fight. Damn it, Naruto will never let me live this down. He centered his forehead protector properly, adjusted his collar to hide the seal one last time, and then picked up his keys and wallet. I could just not go, he considered. That way Naruto wouldn't gloat and Sakura won't fuss over me. I had enough of that the last time I was in hospital. He sighed. And then I'd be stuck with only Kakashi for company again. Damn. That made up his mind. He wanted company, and he was going to go out and get it, and his money back. He briefly considered using a minor genjutsu to cover his bruises, but decided against it on the grounds that his chakra capacity was drained, and that the whole purpose of this evening was to recharge, not to expend further energy. Sasuke sighed, then squared his shoulders. Let's get this over with. It could be such a bad idea that we never try this again. He moved out of his apartment, carefully locking the door, more out of habit than thinking it would stop anyone, and started off towards the Ichiraku Ramen. Thankfully it's a quiet evening, so there's no one around to gawp at the last of the Uchiha clan looking like a complete novice that's messed up his training. He shoved his hands into his pockets and kept walking. Maybe I should see if I can pick up any clues about what Naruto is learning from this Ero-sennin. Kakashi seems to be preparing to teach me something, but all I'm really doing is taijutsu. Learning to collect chakra in parts of my body and release it steadily or in a burst. If I don't have a new jutsu, I may have a problem against Naruto. He tilted his head slightly as he started to hear familiar voices. A few more steps and he could recognize the raised voices as those of Naruto and Sakura. This is all your fault, Naruto. But Sakura-chan, how can it be my fault when you saw him last? Sasuke rounded the corner and was presented with the sight of Sakura scowling at Naruto, who seemed to be trying to cheer her up. Sasuke coughed slightly. I can come back later when you're done arguing. Sasuke-kun. Sakura hurried over and beamed at him. You came back. Are you sure you want to eat here with Naruto? Sasuke nodded. With you both, he said, trying to soothe Sakura's frustration without leading her on. Naruto. He nodded in greeting. Naruto nodded back. Sasuke. Oh. He started digging around in his pockets, before producing several coins of different denominations, and holding them out to him. Here, I'm paying you back. Now we're even, okay? Sasuke sighed and held out his cupped hands, letting Naruto pour the change into his hands. You hunted for the way to pay me back using the most coins possible, idiot? Che, be grateful that I'm paying you back at all, jerk. He smiled at Sakura. See, Sakura? I'm not trying to get free meals off of everyone like you said. He ended up disappointed as all Sakura's attention was focused on Sasuke. Sasuke-kun? Are you okay? You seem very beat up. Her eyes traveled down to look at his neck for a moment, then moved back to look at his eyes. Have you had any trouble with your training? None. Sasuke shifted slightly. I wish they'd both stop worrying about the seal. It's my problem. Always has been, always will be. Just a bit slow going up against Kakashi. It'll fade in a few days. Sakura smiled at him. I'm sure it will, Sasuke-kun. You'll want to look good for the exam. Sasuke sighed. Why do girls care so much for appearance? The ninja life tends towards gaining broken bones, scars and bruises. He smiled slightly. I wonder what would happen if Sakura or Ino broke their nose and had it heal crooked. His thoughts were interrupted by a low growling. Naruto blushed and held his stomach. Hey. Sorry, guess I must be hungry. Naruto, scolded Sakura, linking arms with him. Guess we'll just have to fix that, won't we? You're paying, Sakura-chan? Naruto was rewarded with being struck round the back of his head. Naruto, you idiot, complained Sakura. You can't expect a lady to pick up the bill, even if it isn't a date. You're mean, Sakura-chan, moaned Naruto, rubbing the back of his head painfully. Sasuke noticed Sakura move to link her free arm around his. Grudgingly he allowed her, and was amused to see a faint expression of surprise on her face. We're a team, Sakura, going out together. Not a date. He almost smiled as another thought crossed his mind. Maybe she'll never let go and I'll have to get her surgically removed. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Naruto make a triumphant grin. "What's with you, Naruto?" "Oh, nothing," sang back Naruto, still grinning. He tugged Sakura, and by extension Sasuke, forwards towards the ramen stand. "Come on, I'm not getting any less hungry standing here." Sakura laughed at Naruto's eagerness, and Sasuke permitted himself a small smile. Together the three of them sat, Naruto and Sakura still laughing and bickering, to place their orders. Sasuke watched them calmly, the smile still on his face. "They're both idiots. Chattering away as if nothing has changed. As if nothing had changed with me?" He watched Sakura hit Naruto again for some comment on how this was like a date. "I don't want this to change back to them watching me with worried eyes." "How's Kakashi-sensei been, Sasuke-kun?" asked Sakura, interrupting Sasuke's thoughts. "Is he still being lazy, or is he actually helping you to train?" "He trains me well enough," replied Sasuke. He paused, and only continued to speak when it became clear that Sakura was expecting further comment. "He only talks to me to correct my mistakes, Sakura. I have no great revelation about him to make. We train until I drop, train some more, eat field rations, sleep, then wake at dawn to begin again. There is nothing else." Naruto pouted. "Che. At least Kakashi-sensei is training you. Erosenin just spends all his time peeking at girls, not helping me train. He calls it research, but I know what he's up to." Sakura shuddered. "As if one Naruto wasn't bad enough, now he's being taught by someone even worse." Sasuke snorted. "Think they probably deserve each other. Did Naruto ever tell you about his improvements to his Oiroke no Jutsu? Using it with Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Calls it Harem no Jutsu." Naruto laughed. "How do you think I trapped Erosenin into teaching me? Apparently asking him in a woman's body works so much better." He ducked as Sakura swung at him again. "He's just a dirty old man, who writes that perverted book Kakashi-sensei is always reading." "Get Kakashi-sensei an autograph," replied Sasuke. Naruto watched Sakura head back into her house with a faint expression of melancholy. It had been a fun evening while it had lasted, and even if he had had to pay Sasuke his money back he was glad for having seen him again. Naruto gave a final wave to Sakura, then walked over to where Sasuke was leaning against the wall, head tilted downwards in thought. "Ooh, Sasuke?" asked Naruto cautiously. Sasuke raised his head back up slowly. "You going home, Naruto?" he questioned in response. Naruto thought he saw some sort of sadness in Sasuke's eyes for a moment, beneath their customary hard expression. He shuffled slightly. "Don't have to yet. Be good if you weren't going back yet either." He looked down. "Erosenin is my trainer, but he's not my team. You are, and Sakura-chan is, and even Kakashi-sensei I guess." "Kakashi makes lousy company too," replied Sasuke quietly. "He never talks other than to correct me or give me orders." He shrugged slightly, the motion hampered by his leaning against the wall. This evening was he trailed off, unable to complete the thought. Fun, welcoming, relaxing, safe, filled in Naruto mentally. Yeah, it was. "We should do it again." Sasuke moved away from the wall and started walking. "Come on. Sakura will worry if she knows we're still out here." "Yeah." Naruto hurried to walk alongside Sasuke, stretching his arms to rest them behind his head as he walked. "You want us to meet again next time you're in town?" "Whatever." Naruto smiled slightly. "That's a yes if ever I heard one from Sasuke. He's not as stuck up or mean as he once was, but he still needs to work on the whole talking thing." "Sure thing, Sasuke. We could even go somewhere else if you're getting sick of ramen." "Then I'd have to put up with your complaining all evening, idiot," Sasuke replied without any real heat in the insult. "Eating at the Ichiraku is fine." Naruto thought he saw a faint smile on Sasuke's lips, but in the gloom he couldn't tell for sure whether it was the usual smirk of superiority, or a genuine smile. "It's been good to see you, Sasuke. Even if you are as annoying a jerk as ever." "I wasn't the one who was hit 6 times by Sakura while we ate," replied Sasuke, his expression becoming more clearly a real smile. Naruto kept facing the way they were walking, only noting the change of expression out of the corner of his eye. "Sasuke seems much more than just my rival now. He's a friend who'll jump in to defend me, not because his honor demands it, but because he cares. Or at least, I hope that's what he feels. He's more relaxed around us anyway. Maybe we were all worried over that seal for nothing. The Fujihoun's still holding? No more creepy men trying to bite you. No snakes or ninjas or stuff." Naruto was rewarded by a slight laugh from Sasuke, although he pretended not to hear it. "Nothing is happening, Naruto, apart from training. I look forward to seeing the result of both our training when I meet you in the arena." Sasuke stopped walking and turned to face him. "I still want to fight you, and I intend to give you my very best. You deserve that much, and you'll need to be doing the same against me." Naruto grinned back at him. "Sure, I'm gonna give you my best. The question is, will you be able to keep up with it?" Sasuke snorted and shook his head. "Idiot." He started walking again. "See you again in 4 days." Naruto watched him go. "Count on it." Naruto walked down the streets of Konoha with a spring in his step on the way to Ichiraku. Life was good, tadpoles had legs, and he was getting to see his 2 closest friends while eating. It certainly made up for the frustration of failing to summon a real frog for the last 3 weeks. Not that he was going to tell any of this to Sasuke, Telling him my special technique for our fight would be dumb. And I really don't know what telling him that I'm a friend would do. Probably make us both uncomfortable and paranoid. Always seems to when the conversation turns that way. Probably why he starts insulting me more. Naruto grinned as he imagined Sasuke's head exploding from the phrase "I'm your friend." Stupid Sasuke. Don't really understand why he's like that. Everyone in Konoha would love to be his friend, especially the girls, yet he pushes them all away. Maybe it's something to do with his family, why he has none and wants to kill his brother. Naruto shook his head. I can't imagine wanting to do something like that. If I had a family, I'd do everything I could to keep them safe, not to hurt them or kill them like Sasuke seems to want to do. I guess I'd feel about them the same way I do about Sasuke, and Sakura-chan, and Kakashi-sensei, and Iruka-sensei, and even Old Man Hokage. He smiled a little. Guess the list has gotten longer. A year ago it would just been Old Man Hokage, and maybe Iruka-sensei if he'd been nice to me lately. Turning the corner he saw a familiar sight, causing his smile to widen even further. Sasuke was stood leaning against the wall of Ichiraku, arms folded and chin down, trying to ignore Sakura who seemed to be talking a mile a minute to him. Naruto thought he could see the faint trace of a smile on Sasuke's lips, even as he gave the impression that Sakura's talking was something to be ignored. Hey guys. Naruto hurried over, grinning at them both. He thought he saw Sasuke's mouth twitch into a larger smile for a moment before scowling slightly. Sakura advanced on him, looming over him slightly. You're late, Naruto. Do you really think that keeping a lady waiting on a street corner is polite? But Sakura-chan. Naruto backed away as much as possible from her, holding his hands up in defense. I'm not that late, and Sasuke was here with you to keep you company. Isn't that okay? Sakura kept advancing. Lucky for me Sasuke-kun is a gentleman, and wouldn't dream of trying anything with a shy, fragile young lady like myself. She turned back to Sasuke, smiling. Of course if you wanted to try something with me, Sasuke-kun, I'm sure I'd only give token resistance. Sasuke snorted. You're a poor flirt, Sakura. Try it on someone who's interested. He moved away from the wall. Let's get something to eat. I'm hungry. He looked over at Naruto. I thought I was supposed to be the one learning habits from Kakashi. Naruto blinked for a moment, trying to process the likely connotation of what Sasuke had said. Hey, are you saying I'm as late as Kakashi-sensei? When he saw Sasuke nod faintly as he walked to the ramen stand, it only infuriated him. With a low growl, Naruto ran at him, leaping towards him to tackle him to the ground and beat him until he said how sorry he was. Sasuke, however, sidestepped the tackle without even looking at Naruto. Naruto hit the ground hard, and propped himself up on his arms, spitting dirt. Jerk! Sasuke turned back and offered a hand up. Idiot! It seemed like Naruto would refuse the hand up for a moment, but he then reached out and let Sasuke help him up. Sakura came over and started slapping at Naruto's clothes, trying to dislodge the dust he had picked up from the road. Honestly, Naruto, rolling around in the dirt, getting filthy. Can't you be more respectable, like Sasuke-kun? But Sakura-chan. Sasuke rolled his eyes and pushed up the curtain over the entrance to the Ichiraku ramen house. Looks like another noisy evening with them both. A slow, slight smile spread across his face. This should be interesting, and much better than silence. Things were not going according to plan as far as Kabuto was concerned. He agreed very much with Orochimaru's assessment that somehow Naruto was changing Sasuke, and making him less inclined to their point of view. Or, as Orochimaru-sama described it, Sasuke-kun is being dyed to Naruto-kun's color rather than his. Kabuto resisted the urge to sigh. Such an open display of frustration was unbecoming in Orochimaru's top spy. What I first took as Kakashi's great mistake has now become my biggest problem. I had thought that with Sasuke-kun returning to Konoha so regularly it would be easy to insert doubts about Konoha into his mind, and to try to coax him into using the superb seal that Orochimaru-sama gave him. Having him willingly meet with those that I'm trying to separate him from has made my task that much more difficult. He shook his head and shifted position slightly to watch where Naruto was telling some story, and waving his arms around to illustrate his point. Sasuke's body language showed that he was actively listening to Naruto, and he was amused. Although Kabuto doubted that it would be apparent to anyone not skilled in reading people. He's willingly meeting up with his team, bonding with them, and enjoying their company. Obviously Kakashi's faith in Sasuke-kun was not misplaced, and perhaps a different force will need to be applied to make Sasuke-kun bend to Orochimaru-sama's plans. He smiled as Sakura reached out to hit Naruto around the back of the head for some comment, then lost the smile as he saw Sasuke's shoulders convulse slightly. He's laughing, he realized. Sasuke-kun is laughing at them playing. It's slight and short, but he's laughing with them. That means that he's emotionally involved with them, and it ties him to Konoha. I'll have to break that bond, and quickly if Orochimaru-sama wants him to go with him when everything here is over. Just pushing Naruto slightly towards jealousy hasn't done enough, and instead of them moving further apart, they're drawing closer. Maybe if I throw my support more definitely behind Sasuke-kun and snub Naruto-kun it'll escalate, and they'll break apart by themselves. He adjusted his glasses. If not, we can always go for a straight kidnap. He moved away from the shadows towards the warm light spilling from Ichiraku, placing an unassuming smile on his face. So then, said Naruto, leaning forwards over his empty bowl and turning to first Sasuke's and then Sakura's eager and horrified faces. Ero-sennin goes over to this hot chick, right? And she's all, "Hi old man, are you lost?" And he goes, "Only in your eyes, pretty lady." And she goes and slaps him so hard that the sound echoes off the valley walls. Sakura snorted and shook her head. Good thing too, with a pickup line like that. I'd have done more than slap the pervert. She shoved Naruto, rocking him half off his stool. You better not be learning anything other than jutsu from him. Else I'll be having a word with both of you. Sasuke shook his head. Naruto isn't going to be learning from him, he's going to be teaching him all the idiotic henjutsu he's thought up over the years. He drained his bowl, ignoring the odd look Naruto was giving him for joining in and the slowly reddening face of Sakura. Naruto shook himself slightly, and ordered another bowl before turning back to Sasuke. And what makes you think I'm not learning good stuff? You wait until I'm kicking you all over the arena, then we'll see who's the cool one. Kabuto stepped up to the bar, smiling softly. You shouldn't kick teammates, Naruto-kun. A surgical strike is much better, Kabuto-san. Naruto bounded off his stool to hug Kabuto happily. You should join us for dinner. He blinked, and realized that Sakura and Sasuke were watching him. That is okay, isn't it, guys? Kabuto-san did tell us stuff for the first exam and all. I suppose so, said Sakura. She looked at Sasuke to see his response, but Sasuke only grunted, his face back to polite disinterest. Sasuke-kun, wondered Sakura, why are you suddenly closed to us again? Why won't you be open with people? Why can't you smile where just anyone would see it? Kabuto sat calmly, smiling at them all. It's good to see you together happily like this. What with Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun as rivals for the exam? We've agreed not to talk about that, said Sasuke, not looking towards Kabuto. Naruto nodded. We'd just end up arguing, and probably fighting. He grinned at Sasuke, and then I'd have no choice but to beat you to a pulp, without there being any judges around to see how great I am. You'd have to catch me first, retorted Sasuke, then paused, trying not to let his worry show on his face. Shit, I hope Naruto doesn't realize I just gave him information on what I've been training in. Kabuto smiled. I'm sure that Sasuke-kun will be more than able to defend himself against you, Naruto-kun. That is, assuming you can beat Hyuga. He straightened his glasses slightly. He held Sasuke-kun's position last year as top graduate. He pulled some cards out and shuffled through them, before pulling out Naruto's card. And you were the class dunce according to my information. Quite a distance you've climbed to reach this peak. Naruto puffed his chest out, grinning. And I'm not done climbing yet. I'm gonna make it all the way up there. He pointed in the vague direction of the mountain where the faces of the previous Hokage were carved. You just wait. I look forward to it, said Kabuto with an indulgent smile. Sasuke watched him order some food. Something isn't right. From what I've heard, that Gaara is the most dangerous, yet Kabuto seems more worried about Naruto's fight. His language is suggesting that I'll have no trouble in my fight while Naruto will struggle, but with his knowledge, there is no way that he doesn't know my level as well as Naruto's. He leant against the counter and rested his chin on his hands, tilting his face forwards to let his hair shade his eyes. Maybe he's trying something. Is he friends with one of the other Konoha ninjas in the exam and trying to scare Naruto out? Are you alright, Sasuke-kun? Asked Sakura, picking up on Sasuke's tension. She leant close to him, and spoke quietly. Kabuto-san is just being nice. Can't you try to smile for him like you do for us? I don't smile. Sakura smiled and withdrew a little. Okay, if you say so. Kabuto looked over, then did a double take as he looked at Sasuke. Are you okay? That's a pretty large bruise on your neck. Do you want me to take a look at it? Sasuke stiffened, then moved his hand to his neck, trying to mask the seal. It's nothing you should be concerned over, Kabuto. Sakura gave what she hoped was a winning smile. He's training for the Chunin exam, Kabuto-san. Surely it's not that odd to have bruises. She leaned in closer to Sasuke, putting a hand onto his shoulder to try to help cover the seal. She felt Sasuke's muscles tense under her hand, and she was grateful that he didn't try to shrug her off. Not that being able to do this isn't nice, but I'm doing it to protect him, not to try to get closer to him. She leant into him, resting her head on his shoulder, trying to give the impression of them having a relationship. Sasuke-kun works too hard sometimes. Makes him so tired he makes stupid mistakes sometimes. She moved her hands over his, moving her head to cover his neck. Come on, Sasuke-kun, just play along. Yeah. Sasuke kept his face still, trying not to show how uncomfortable Sakura's proximity was making him. Lucky Kakashi noticed I wasn't paying attention and didn't cause me serious injury. The words felt forced to him, and went against his nature and self-cultivated image of control and perfection. Kabuto smiled kindly. Well, I'm sure it was only a momentary lapse. When the final exam comes, you'll show why the Uchiha clan were so well respected. Sakura felt Sasuke flinch at that, although she saw no change in his expression or outward movement. Sasuke-kun? What's wrong with that? I know that your clan has gone quiet, since there was that accident or whatever that cut the numbers down, but surely you must be over that by now. She moved her fingers in what she thought were soothing circles over his hands, and resisted the urge to move her head away from covering the seal to check on his expression. Kabuto kept his expression the same, but inwardly gloated. You're hardly a good spy, Sakura-san. You've given off over-the-top signals of affection, and Sasuke-kun isn't responding to them beyond discomfort at close contact. He accepted his order and started to eat. I'm also sure that reminding Sasuke-kun of the huge loss and burden he carries will make him less inclined to see Konoha as a loving family. With luck, my words will eat at both Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun and taint whenever they meet here again. Sakura-san is already widening the rift with her silly charade. Hey, Kabuto-san, chirped in Naruto, unaware of Kabuto's thoughts. Are you going to watch the exam and cheer for me? He watched Kabuto turn his attention to him, and grinned. Now Sakura-chan can let go of Sasuke, cause she doesn't have to hide the seal anymore. Kabuto rested his chopsticks on his bowl. Of course, Naruto-kun. I'll cheer for you louder than anyone else in the arena, even when you go out of the tournament. You'll have to cheer even louder when I win, grinned Naruto. He saw Sasuke and Sakura draw apart out of the corner of his eye, and Sasuke's worried expression. He really can't like having Sakura-chan hugging him like that. Totally weird. I'd love her to do that to me. I'm gonna show them all. Kabuto nodded. I'm sure you will, Naruto-kun. He patted him on the shoulder consolingly before rising from his stool, leaving a pile of coins next to his drained bowl. I hope I see you again before that though. I much prefer meeting with you when I'm not working at passing a horrible exam. He turned his attention to Sakura and Sasuke. Thanks for your company. Sorry for crashing your date together with Naruto-kun. Sakura smiled at him. Thank you, Kabuto-san. Sasuke just nodded and grunted slightly. Kabuto smiled back, then left. He kept his act up until he had gotten back to his apartment, and he carefully checked for observers before he allowed himself to scowl. I don't know if it'll be enough. Sakura-san's foolish act may well have driven a wedge into the group using romance, but they're young enough to let their hormones rule them. Naruto will take foolish risks to win now just so he can prove himself, but I may have tipped my hand to Sasuke-kun. I can just hope that when we make our move, and I offer Sasuke-kun a means for his revenge, that he will accept it. Else I'll have to kidnap him, and risk harming the very thing Orochimaru-sama wishes to gain.